Hey everyone, your host Nick here, and you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. First, I want to remind you that we are a fully independent podcast, quite literally just a group of friends who have met once a week since 2008 to talk about video games. If you like our show, the best thing you can do for us is be active in our community. I recommend Discord. You can subscribe to our show, leave us a review on your preferred podcast service, or, if you're so inclined, bless us with your patronage on Patreon or Twitch. If you're new, all you need to know is this. We record these shows live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central on Twitch, and the audio version launches on all podcast services on Friday morning. Patreon and Twitch supporters will even get the show a day early on Thursdays. But if you want to know more about any of this, about what we do, or find all the important links you need, simply visit us at 4playernetwork.com. And that's it. This is the only ad you'll ever hear on this show. So, with that said, thank you for listening. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 807. It is August 27th, 2024. I'm your host, Nick Henderson, joined tonight by Brad Simons.
Hello.
Nolan Hedstrom.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Christopher Guthridge.
Hello.
And Christopher Davis.
Good evening.
And we are here once again to talk about the wacky world of video games. How about that Nintendo Direct today, guys?
How's it?
They got us a
show.
Yeah, when they announced Silksong was coming out this year.
Okay. I
obviously elephant in the
really...
room, sure, but it was a good showcase thing.
Really?
Indie/partner direct.
I'm kind of surprised because I was not feeling it.
It wasn't filled with a lot of Nick games.
It certainly was not. It was.
But
I mean, I was there for two reasons.
You.
I know. I'm not saying. Look. I'm not saying it was a bad showcase just in general. I'm saying it was a bad showcase for me. I was there for two very specific reasons, and it did not deliver on either one of them. I was hoping to get some news about Deca Police, or of course Silksong. But of course, neither of those things.
That was good. That was good news for you, Nick. Bad news for me.
Well, I mean, if you were talking about Fantasy Critic, yes. Any delay on Hollow Knight or any lack of news on Hollow Knight is good news for the rest of us. It's not looking good. I don't know how to tell you this. It's not looking good.
No, I'm not worried. Xbox didn't have a showcase in like a week or two.
Did you make that up? Because I haven't heard anything
rumors.
about this.
No, there's fucking rumors, man.
Okay.
Xbox partner showcase.
Rumors.
Okay.
You know?
Well,
it's gonna be
they're out here saying
Morsels does look cool. Check out a trailer for Morsels.
There were some neat indies. I also saw some
Pizza Towers coming to
DLC.
Switch. Pizza Towers, super cool game.
They opened it with a Tetris Forever collection, and all the background behind the scenes stuff is filmed by Area 5, the former OneUp.com guys.
It's the studio that's been doing all these collections and digital Eclipse. It's Digital Eclipse.
No, Digital Eclipse isn't doing this. This is Area 5. Digital Eclipse is actually doing the Worms Armageddon remaster thing.
What?
Yeah.
Area 5
it's all about nostalgia.
Video stuff.
I think nostalgia was kind of the theme of this, right? Yeah. But there was some cool indies there. Neva got a date, which is October 18th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. That's actually kind of interesting. What is the Tetris game called?
Tetris Forever.
So you know how like
Mr. Papa Shot says Digital Eclipse is doing Tetris as well.
Yeah.
Oh, they are?
No, I think he's mistaken. But here's what's interesting about it, right? Digital Eclipse did their own like docu games that, like in recent years they did the one on like Karateka and the one on like George or Jeff Minter games and stuff. But like those were like really impressive games, but they got bought. And the dude who what's his face from Giant Bomb, went over to Digital Eclipse, and he's like a video guy, and he recently left. And I'm thinking that they got rid of their own in-house like documentary people, and that might be why they contracted with Area 5 to shoot all that stuff.
What's the name of the studio that does all like the long form documentaries?
Blinking White Guy.
Oh,
from Giant Bomb.
No Clips.
I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, you're thinking of
he was the dude who like filmed all that stuff. Drew Scanlon. He filmed all that stuff for Digital Eclipse, but he recently left. which is unfortunate
I
that
didn't
they
know
got
that.
bought and all of a sudden they're getting rid of their in-house like jockey people. Unfortunate, but yeah.
Yep.
That Tetris game does look fucking cool.
It does look cool. A lot of cool collections. We got some news on the
Yeah.
Suikoden 1 and 2 HD
Well,
remasters,
geez.
right?
And that's still not this year, which is
No.
crazy because
It's-
that's just a remaster. And like I don't know what's been going on with that. I'm glad it finally has a date. It's not like an insane amount of work is being put into it from the looks of it.
Yeah.
Very weird situation, especially because Konami, same time, Shadow drops another new Castlevania collection, which looks great, has the DS games, has a remake of Haunted Castle, and Capcom has another insane collection after just announcing the Marvel Versus collection. So the fact that like Suikoden's taking so long is super weird. But
That's a good question.
I mean, they may have just announced that project early.
So
yeah, but they're not
that
like real early.
Castlevania
There's not new
collection-
artists. Well, there is.
I have a genuine question. That Castlevania collection, sick as hell. But like, how does it handle like the dual screen shit?
It just they put it to the side.
Well, they put it to the side. The Switch is a touchscreen. Also, there are some like controls for that stuff. Like for example, in Dawn of Sorrow,
with a stylus though.
Dawn of Sorrow has the is like kind of notorious, right? Where once you beat a boss, you had to like draw the seal to actually defeat the boss. Otherwise, you would get some health back. They turn that into like QuickTime events now.
Oh,
So you just press the corresponding like face button to do like the rune thing to seal the boss, and that's like a completely adequate way to do it. The thing is, there's been so many like ROM hacks and stuff to remove that stuff over the years. Like I have my fucking Miu Mini. I have like multiple hacked versions of all these DS Castlevania games with all kinds of like hacks for stuff like that. But it's nice to get a nice official collection for the Switch because it's like those are good fucking games, man. And those are like the last real Castlevania games pre Mercury Steam. So it's a good pickup. And that thing's only $24 for three amazing Castlevania games and that new remake of a classic one. So pretty cool.
Back in the good times before the Mercury.
The Capcom one is wild though. The Capcom one is wild. We're just talking about.
Yeah, I just talking about the Nintendo Direct, man.
Can I mention?
It's out there. It's news. It happened today.
First off,
well, on the Capcom one, or were you going to talk about the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 or whatever? It has both. It has Capcom vs SNK 2, Street Fighter Alpha 3. It has both Power Stone games and
sick. That's sick as hell.
Project Justice, the second Rival Schools game. Like it's so cool because these are like games that like if you trying to like collect like physical copies of, or like some of these games are like super rare, you know, and just to have these nice collections for the Switch is just fucking huge. Not just the Switch, but and to have, you know, online support, even though people,
I don't play a lot of fighting games, but believe it or not, Power Stone 2 is maybe the fighting game, maybe excluding one of the Mortal Kombat games. I don't know, but like outside of that, Power Stone 2 is probably the fighting game that I've spent the most amount of time with.
You saying you could kick our asses in Power Stone because it's going to have online support?
That sounds like a challenge.
Absolutely not saying that at all. I'm just saying I don't have a lot of experience with fighting games, but believe it or not, I got some Power Stone experience there.
And just like the fighting collection that's just about to come out for the Marvel games, this also includes enhancements like full-on rollback netcode so you can play online, full-on training modes. And they unlock like hidden content, like a bunch of boss characters or otherwise unplayable characters. You can now do that.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything else you want to call attention to? What's up?
I mean, I also, you want to talk about other stuff that was talked about? Like they showed off the first trailer for the DLC for Sea of Stars.
So yeah. I was kind of distracted when that happened, but I would turn back and when I finally looked back, I was like, wait, Sea of Stars? What's happening? What did I miss? And then it ended. But then I realized it was free DLC, right? Free DLC?
Yep.
Which is cool.
Coming out next week.
I don't know. I don't know why it's free, but I'm glad it's free because it's free.
It's just weird because that game came out to Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Extra. So you would think, or maybe it wasn't Game Pass, but you would think that they would want people who got it for free to at least pay money for the DLC if they liked it.
Good point.
So.
I'm wondering how that game ultimately ended up doing.
Oh, extremely well.
Extremely well? Okay.
Yeah. Outside of this, like on Steam and stuff, it did, super well.
Great. It's great. It's a great fucking video game. Look,
also
I was not trying to disparage the Nintendo Direct. It was just a lot of obscure JRPGs that I know are not for me.
Yeah. There was also a bunch of surprising shadow drop content today.
You need points, dog. I don't, we're in September now.
I know I need points, but I'm not going to get points with those. That's for sure.
True.
I almost installed Grand Blue Fantasy Relink on my Steam Deck before I took my trip, but I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that one can get you over the finish line.
I'm waiting for.
Here, it's not super long.
I'm waiting to see what level 5 says, because if level 5 comes out and says Deca Police is coming, I think Deca Police will take me across the finish line.
What if you hate it though, Nick? What if it sucks?
I have never played a level 5 game that I hated.
Yet.
But when's the last time you played a level 5 game? Because they're not the same company.
Hold on. No, I'm not talking about the first Ni no Kuni.
Ni no Kuni 2, I didn't finish it, but I didn't hate it.
It's a fine game. It's just kind of boring.
But like when
it's
I'm
not a great game by any means.
Played Ni no Kuni 2, I didn't need the points. I didn't need the points for the stupid game that Brad has me playing.
You're too Pokemon pilled. I feel like you're biased. You hate Ni no Kuni because it's not Pokemon.
You heard me?
Isn't that like Pokemon like? Yeah.
I think that
no.
I think that,
So,
that puts him...
the second one added some Pokemon kind of elements, but that's not why I didn't like the game. I didn't like the game because it was boring as shit.
No voice acting.
Yeah, no voice acting, lots of reading, bad story. Like the first game was so much better.
First game was really good. But even then,
he's not even talking about that. He's talking about fucking Dark Cloud and shit.
I do feel like it would be a stretch to say I hated Ni no Kuni 2. You know what I mean? Like, hate is a strong word. If I needed the points and Ni no Kuni 2 would get them for me, I would happily play it.
So you had no feelings about it?
Ni no Kuni 2?
Very mild feelings.
Mild feelings. Mild feelings about Ni no Kuni 2. But level 5 has a terrific track record. Love me some level 5.
It's been a long time.
I'm not worried about it, man.
They were killing it on the PS2 and the Nintendo DS and shit, but
Deca Police looks sick. It's a fucking like futuristic detective game by level 5, man. It looks sick. I'm into it. Don't pee in my Cheerios or whatever they say.
No, I mean I hope it's fucking good. I'm just saying you're the one who's needs it to be good. Otherwise, what the fuck you're gonna have to play Rise of the Ronin again, which no one wants to play that horrible game.
First of all, I never said it was horrible. You bitch.
You were pretty mad. Remember when you were dodging the stuff you were supposed to parry? You were so mad that day.
I was pretty mad. I was pretty mad about that. I have problems with Rise of the Ronin, but those are me problems, all right? I don't blame anybody for liking that game. It's just not for me. Anyways, what are we doing here?
Well,
shut the fuck up.
I mean, I did want to mention a few more things from the Nintendo Direct.
Okay.
Okay. Kind of, they closed the show, obviously not with Silksong, but with Yakuza
I turned it off
Kiwami?
the moment I saw that on screen. I was like,
"Yeah, what is that? That's not news. Who cares?"
I mean,
I was
but
they have this thing with a port.
Well, they have talked for years about how they would not bring their games to the Switch, and now they are, and it looks like it runs at 540p. But hey, that's the thing.
Who cares?
There was also beyond just the Castlevania DS collection, there was a number of other things that got Shadow Drop content today. Balatro got 40 packs of cards for Dave the Diver, Witcher 3, Among Us, and Vampire Survivors.
Damn. This single developer who made this
right. It's just a single guy.
Man, he took his success and was like, I'm gonna go all the way. I mean, he made these deals quick.
And he was teasing more deals in that trailer.
He's a businessman.
I'm surprised if there was so many more that he got like either offered and just couldn't make work too.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like other people want to jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
You know, other developers want to if they can get in on a little bit of recognition coming their way.
Yeah.
I'm excited. In fact, one of the things that I kind of wanted for Balatro was to have a little more whatever. We don't have to talk about Balatro. We'll talk about the end of the year when we're talking about the best game of the year because it's obviously Balatro, maybe.
Well,
maybe.
High up there.
Also, I
man,
did
Nick,
Nick,
want
you
coming from
motherfucker.
somebody. You can't go if you didn't play it, Nick. You can't go.
That's the joke.
if you
That's the
didn't play
joke.
it.
That's the joke.
Oh my god.
I also just wanted to throw in that Peglin got shadow launched today out of early access.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
Big one. I didn't realize I was still
pretty
on
good.
early
Yeah,
access.
yeah. Neither did I.
yeah, but it's a timed exclusive on the Switch for consoles, but it's out on Steam and GOG right now.
It's also on a Netflix free download game if you have
Oh, it
Netflix
is?
on your phone.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, when Nintendo was yesterday was like, we have Nintendo Direct tomorrow, and it's 40 minutes. I think people see Nintendo Direct and they see 40 minutes and they're like, and then it says something about partner, like I forgot what their terminology they use is.
Partner
But they talk
direct.
about showing up their partner direct or whatever. And people immediately start thinking, oh, this is a big one. 40 minutes long, Nintendo Direct,
Big
partners
one.
is a big one.
They combined them together. Partner directs are
In my head, I was thinking they're doing an indie thing, and I thought it was like a separate stream, and it was 40 minutes for both. I was assuming the indie world was separate from the 40 minutes.
I mean, if they would have separated it out, the indie world event would have gotten not even half the viewership that the main partner direct would have.
No, I know. I mean, it was a smart move. It's just, I think a lot of people, because, it's getting towards the end of the year. Everybody's like, jonesing for Hollow Knight Silksong, and everyone
It's
assumed.
crazy.
And who knows? Like, the funny thing is, like, who the fuck even knows where that's going to show up? Like, when it finally does reemerge, it could be at any number
A lot of
things.
people really do believe it might be Xbox because they did have like some sort of partner
I mean, the
deal.
last time we saw it was at an Xbox thing.
It's going
So.
to be on Game Pass, and like for such a big, instant success game, huge game, right? To get
I
that
feel
Game
like it
Pass
was-
deal means they probably have some huge marketing thing. Not that
Yeah.
game needs to be marketed at this point. The memes do the work.
Yeah, they do.
I don't
But
know.
anyways, that happened. There's still time. There's still time. But we'll see what happens. How's everybody doing? Anything
good.
exciting? Yeah. Anything? No. Anybody seen any good movies lately? Before we jump into like the video games.
I watched The Sound of Music last night.
That's a good one. Classic.
See it, man? Yeah. The Von Traps.
Mm-hmm.
And then Clue. I watched Clue. That movie's great. I haven't
Oh.
seen it in a while.
That is a great movie. For
That's
sure.
Last time I saw Clue was at the Draft House. It was a Clue party.
A movie party.
Movie party, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, and I started watching the second season of The Mole on Netflix, and that show is weird.
You're talking about like from back in the early 2000s?
No, well, it is that show, yes, but Netflix now makes new seasons of it.
Oh God!
Wait, but you said the second season of The Mole.
The second season of the new.
The second new season of The Mole.
I thought you went back to watch the old Mole because I did that like a couple of years ago, and let me tell you, it was a pretty good time.
Dude, the second season of the original Mole was so good. Like that's when but no. Yeah, I don't know. That's about it, I think.
Did we have any conversation? Did anybody else besides me see Alien yet?
No.
Romulus?
Oh no, that's all you, buddy.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's all you. It's wild.
I don't see
You
a lot
should
of
see
theater
it.
movies. Was it good?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Pretty good. Let me tell you,
well,
I'm not
finish
running
this-
out to watch Pretty Good in the theater.
oh well, I mean, I saw Cuckoo.
Oh, how was
see, I'm
that?
waiting
How
on
was
that
that?
one to come to
Dude, Cuckoo was wild. I think Cuckoo might be in the running for one of my favorite movies of the year. It's
There's
Krispy.
that director made another horror movie called Luz, Luz.
I have not seen
that is
that.
also like
Yeah.
a wild one, and Carlos like adores that movie. So maybe check
Really?
that one out too. Yeah.
It is as you said earlier, Brad. It is almost September 1st. Spooky season for a lot of people has already begun.
I'm
So,
excited to see that one when it comes on demand, and Oddity. I've been waiting for Oddity to hit streaming.
Oddity.
Oddity is Luz is German. Yeah, it is a foreign film. Oddity is the new God, what did they make? There's a movie called Caveat horror movie.
Mhm.
Like I don't know. Just watch the trailer. Oddity, it's wild.
All right, good to know.
If you want to keep that weird, I think it's in like maybe some small theaters right now. But if you want to keep that weird horror train rolling, maybe look into Oddity.
Look, just real quick thing about Alien, because I didn't realize I was the only person that had seen it here. Aliens Romulus is pretty damn good. It's like it's easily the best one since like the original Aliens.
Really?
The original and Aliens. Yeah, I mean, okay, I don't think you're gonna get much pushback. I mean, I know I've always had a soft spot for Alien 3, but I know that's a weird take. I know that's a really weird take.
Yeah.
But I also recognize, even though I love Alien 3, like Alien and Aliens are obviously superior. Like I feel like objectively they're superior films. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of hard to argue that. And I think the thing is, this like from the creative standpoint, from like the director and the writer who was like putting the whole thing together, he clearly had a vision for it, went for it. But like you can see where like at the executive level, like trying to get their fucking fingers in that and like forcing the creative decisions to be made that are just terrible. But there's not much of that. Oh my god! Hold on a second.
What are we
the
holding?
cat's trying to get in, but it actually does not want in.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you.
I actually heard it.
That entire time I was talking, this cat was like scratching the door like viciously, and the moment I open it, she just runs away.
She's like,
yeah,
what a bitch.
She just doesn't like closed doors.
It doesn't,
and that'll
like
probably
policy.
That'll probably
you know, I haven't been really hot on the Alien franchise, and I also wasn't a big fan of Prometheus, but recently I've been thinking about reevaluating it because I'm starting to think about it and read about it, and like Ridley Scott's been on this like whole no one's special, God is dead, and if he's not dead, then he fucking hates us kind of kick in a lot of his movies over the last 10 years. And honestly, like, it's kind of a vibe. Like, I'm
here for it.
Like,
he's also turned into a bit of an asshole, though.
Oh,
well,
yeah. I mean, I don't care if he's an asshole. Yeah. He made Blade Runner. He can be an asshole. Like, that's fine.
Did y'all see the? I think it was Letterboxd that were like, they have a thing where when they're on like red carpets or whatever, they'll ask like directors like, what are your top 4 favorite films or whatever, and then they like a thing, and they asked Ridley Scott, and he put Blade Runner.
One of his was Blade Runner, and it's like, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. He's like, there just aren't that many people out there doing it like me. Like,
actually,
I was like, that was a bold answer.
I apologize. When I said asshole, I was actually thinking of James Cameron.
Oh, yeah, well, he's an asshole too. They're all assholes.
I was gonna say they're all assholes.
Yeah, they're not. Your friend.
I think the list of them that aren't is a lot shorter than that.
You know, Fede Alvarez, the guy who directed Romulus. I mean, obviously, I don't know the guy, but like, he gives off vibe. Like, if you go listen to him talk about stuff, he gives off like, I'd like to have a beer with that guy. Like, he seems like genuinely interested in the creative process. No, wouldn't go that far. But you know, when you listen to him talk, and then you listen to like Ridley Scott talk, because a lot of that's happening in the same like right now, happening in like the same video because they're doing a lot of stuff together. It's just like you can kind of see the difference in their personalities. I don't know. But yeah, I highly recommend Alien Romulus. It was good. Also, I will say that I'm still of the opinion that Alien Isolation is maybe the best like genuine sequel to the original Alien. But that's also a weird take, I'm sure.
Not necessarily.
That's more weird.
But no, so yeah, I was saying earlier. Yeah, I've not really seen too many movies. I've only watched a few shows. Been very busy around our house now that we've been here for a year. I'm finally starting to get some stuff done that I've been needing to get done for like the past 9 months. It just, life gets busy, and then all of a sudden, there's a lot of things I need to get done before December. Doing lots of painting and prep work and getting ready for the baby shower. That's in a month. Because Bernadette's pregnant.
Okay, I was about to say. I was like,
wait, did you tell these people?
No, it's never been told on the podcast. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yes, this is the first time all the guys know, everyone here knows, but no
Way
one
to
in
sneak
chat
that in
knows
there, Nolan. That was smooth.
that yes, Bernadette is due in December with our first baby.
Very
Crazy.
exciting.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It'd have been funnier if you
Let's get
waited until
crazy.
just like a baby wandered into frame.
Yeah, just show it. Yeah.
See how long you can keep that under wraps. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and the only reason I don't think it would have kept under wraps that long. Somebody would have slipped up on accident at some point,
Dude,
especially
I was
as we
getting
get
nervous.
closer.
I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
I
surprised
mean,
it hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, it's so easy to slip up.
I mean,
that
she's
sort of situation.
quick math, over 5 months in now. Monday
Damn.
was 26 weeks. So we're definitely getting there. It's gonna be a little girl, so we're pretty excited.
Very nice.
Trying to just now literally starting to work on the nursery,
And this,
all that stuff.
This was like partially kind of related to why you even decided to move, right?
Yeah, we were kind of looking for a new place to raise a family, and started looking around and liked what we found up here, and so. But
Texas sucks.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Every day
But
gets
yeah,
worse.
so we're very excited for that. But yeah,
Well, that's
just
very
bring
cool.
that up. Obviously, later this year, I'll probably be stepping away for a little bit to deal with a baby.
That is understandable, but we're very excited.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's super easy. So you got this.
It's funny, Brad. You're the only
Believe
one
this man.
that's telling me that.
Piece of cake.
I always
You'll get so much
I always think about the Andy Sandberg interview now, where he's talking about how he's like, yeah, before you have kids, whatever, all your friends are like, oh, you should do this. It's wonderful. You'll know it's the best thing you could ever possibly do. And the moment you have the child, they're like, welcome to hell. Like that.
Gotcha, bitch.
I'm sure that Brad can provide you a list of phone games you can play in one hand while holding a newborn in the other.
Yeah, that is a lot of when they're in the lump stage. It really is a lot of just rocking with the sleeping baby.
So yeah, no, Bernadette's cousin Precious had a baby 2 months ago. So I actually saw him on Sunday. He's just over 2 months now. He's a little chunk. And yeah, I was talking with her husband Ryan, the baby's dad, about just the fact that there's so many limitations. He's like, the baby can't hold a bottle right now, so I got to hold it while I'm feeding him. So it's not like I can play games, and so yeah, it's just saying like trying to find certain things to be able to do while obviously baby comes first. But
It's so weird too, because all those milestones the first time are like exciting. You're like, oh, this kid's gonna walk. Let me help this kid walk. And then for the second kid, it was like, oh, please don't learn how to walk. Please don't learn how to walk. We're not gonna help you at all. Fucking take your time. Or
So sabotaging their own attempts
when they start moving,
learn to walk. Yeah.
that's the
movements.
Thing. Yeah, when they start moving around, that's when life really changes. God.
Yeah, that's when the danger begins.
You gotta baby-proof everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Thankfully, that's something that's in the back of my mind, but obviously I've not started, because even when the baby shows up, like it's not going to be opening drawers or climbing cabinets or anything like that. So don't need to worry about that day one or even month like 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah,
That's wild.
Yeah,
That's wild
for sure.
Crazy.
I'm
times.
very tall, but I learned a trick when my first baby was a baby, peeing in sinks. I'm very tall, so it's not hard for me. It's not hard for me.
Where did that come from?
I never had to pee in a sink before, but
My
then
brain
I realized,
is going in so many directions.
wait
Why?
a minute, I really need to pee. I don't want to leave this baby alone. It's chilling
gotcha.
over there on his boppy, but I don't want to leave the room. I'm just gonna pee in the sink.
Like the kitchen sink in the kitchen.
sink. I did the dishes. I kept the
No.
sink clean.
Wow.
I'm
I'm
pretty sure
If you're
never-
tall, it's just an option.
I'm never gonna use a sink at Brad's ever.
Yeah, no, not this thing. This was the duplex. Yeah, you.
Oh yeah, we use that sink. Thank you, Brad.
Dude, we've
No.
used that
When
so
I had
many
that kid, you were not. We weren't doing the show out of the duplex anymore.
Yeah, that is true. We started doing it at my place then.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I peed in all the sinks, so yeah, already too late.
Wait. Did you tell Carlos this though?
I mean, I don't know.
Carlos helped.
I cleaned the
He's
sink.
like, let me hold it.
You're
for
just
you, Dad."
jealous that I can pee in a sink, being the height that I am.
What a height? You think we can't pee in sinks?
Well,
you just
it's
aim up.
dicier for a shorter person.
You think
gotta
that's
just,
you
aim
think
it
we
up.
aren't jealous of your ability to pee in a sink? You think that's why we're not peeing in sinks?
Well, I mean,
That's the only reason because we. Oh my
That's
God,
what's holding us back.
Rewrite. Oh my God.
All these sinks I could be peeing in.
look, man. It's look. It wasn't until I had a baby. All right.
Yeah. No.
Not like I've been peeing in sinks my whole life.
King Carey says
It was just
5'8" peeing on
occasionally
cabinets.
in an emergency situation.
In the cap. Jesus Christ.
That's why you get that's why your bottom drawer is now the piss drawer. You can just pee in there and then close it.
That's almost like that's almost weird enough that I feel like it'd be less weird if you were just like, I learned a secret when I first had my first kid, adult diapers. That would have been a lot easier. I feel like
At least you're using the diaper for what it's intended for, not the fucking sink.
I kept the sink clean, man. I washed the dishes. Don't y'all?
I said
clean.
I said that jokingly, but I'm pretty sure if somebody in chat wants to Google it, I'm pretty sure that was a thing. Like my little brother's upset because my mom found his piss drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like a
What?
4 or 5 year old who just kept, instead of going to the bathroom, he would just pee in the drawer on his bedside table.
Oh, fuck
Instead
that.
of getting up in the middle of the
Google
night.
it.
Yeah.
that what that
That's a
sounds
classic.
You know what that sounds alarming.
Oh, I know what it
close to,
sounds
right?
like. Yes.
Okay.
See, Pocop already found it.
Oh. Well,
I ran
okay.
to
It's very much in that same genre of like poop knife.
Bernadette has entered the chat. She's not saying anything about the sink, so I feel like she missed the sink story.
I mean,
Anyways.
if she's peeing in the sink, I'd be very.
You're gonna
impressed.
look at your count and you're gonna be like, man, these sinks are too high.
Here's the thing, Brad, is the way you're bringing this up, it sounds like this was more than just a single one-off scenario.
This
Like,
sounds
this is
like
a
It was
repeated
not
event that
just a
happened multiple
one-off
times.
thing. It happened multiple times.
I guess you could set up like a Hot Wheels track.
Life
Like
becomes
with the
different,
ramp?
is all I'm trying to say. We are focused too much on the peeing in the sink. Just
I mean, it's true. That's true. Well, in an effort to rein this back in, congratulations, Nolan and Bernadette.
Thank you.
That's super exciting.
Yay.
Very
it's
exciting.
exciting.
Don't pee in sinks.
Horrifying.
Unless, of course, it just comes to that, and you need to. Well, I feel like one of these days, like Nolan's gonna be in a situation where he's like holding the baby, and it's like he's gonna have the thought, and he's like, "Oh my god, Brad was right.
It's time.
This is my moment."
Brad was right. The whole world. I mean, I'm not offering a unique perspective
whole
here. I
world.
think he's gonna.
If you listen to this podcast and you peed in sinks
Oh well, he's
because
not-
you were taking care of a
not
newborn
the
child, let's be specific.
Nick, would you like me to go onto our Twitter and Blue
Where's
Sky
my
account?
fellow
and create a
tall
poll?
dads at? Tall dads represent.
I can start a poll
No,
right
no.
now asking if people in chat are sink pissers.
No, it's not going to be like suddenly a moment. It'll 1000% be the first night in the hospital with the baby, and you're more tired than you've ever been. Bernadette will be even more tired, and you realize, wait a minute,
Nice save.
I can't just go to sleep for 8 hours or 6 hours or whatever and just carry on.
I know.
because I'm tired.
know.
It's
I'm gonna have to pee in this
It's
sink.
a tough one. It's a tough one, but it
The only
becomes
option.
easier. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Although both
I'm
my
glad
kids
we
are
covered
sick right
that.
now with like different sicknesses. It's horrifying when that starts. But oh man,
But it's great.
so worth it.
All right, let's get this. Let's shift over. What are we here to talk about? Video games, right?
Allegedly,
That's what we do here. You want to talk about Nolan? Have you been playing this too? Because you put it as your background, or is it?
No.
No, okay.
It's just my background. I have not played
Okay.
it. I almost
you-
did. I almost pulled the plug. Literally, I still have a tab open to purchase it. I just didn't do it.
I saw what
Gotcha.
your other background was earlier before we started the show, and
Don't
I
do
got
it. Don't
a little
bring it up.
excited.
A little
I
excited.
don't even remember what it was.
It was the picture. It was the picture.
Wait,
Nolan.
no. This is the
No,
perfect
before that.
opportunity to like pull up something that gave Chris Davis a boner. What got him so excited earlier?
I'm gonna say it right now before Brad fucks me over. It's Earth Defense Force 6.
No, that was just left over from the last time we did a podcast. That was the last time I was on. We talked about it.
Okay, so he's just putting his background as whatever we're playing in solidarity. I get it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about Black Myth Wukong, right? That's what I've been playing. That's what I've been spending quite a bit of time. It's the first game I played since upgrading my PC. By the way, shout out to Chris Davis. Wanted to do this on the podcast because Chris Davis obviously came over and helped me. I'm not like a PC expert, and he came over and helped me install my new motherboard and CPU and cooling system and all that stuff. So I am good to go. And
wait,
yeah,
sounds like you just built a new PC.
Not entirely, but I mean, I'm still using the same GPU, and my case is the same. I mean, it's not. It was just like four parts, but they were big important pieces.
It's the PC of Theseus.
I have a 3070
blew my
Ti.
mind when someone told me what your processor was, and I couldn't believe it.
Well, I got a new processor as part of this, but I have the same GPU. So I have a 3070 Ti, but now I have a newer processor. Anyways, I've been wanting to upgrade for a while, and I finally just said fuck it, and I pulled the trigger. So Chris Davis, once again, shout out. Thank you.
So he's gone from a 6700 Intel to a 7800X 3D from
6700. That's like an 8-year-old CPU.
It is.
Yeah. I was bottlenecking my GPU pretty significantly.
Wait, what did you get?
A 7800X 3D.
He knows it off the top of his head. I don't.
7800X 3D. Okay.
And 32 gigs of RAM.
Yes, I've doubled my RAM. That was a big one. So, anyways, neither here nor there. Black Myth Wukong. I've been playing this. And there's... I don't even know where to start with this because I didn't really know... This is like one of those games that like I couldn't really read for the longest time, and it's... Also, I was kind of like, is this a Souls-like? Is it a character action game? What is this? And now that I've played it, and I've been seeing a lot of talk, obviously, about this game being sort of a boss rush, which I think is fair.
Not like in the
sense.
traditional sense.
Not in the
like...
traditional sense, because you're not literally going from boss fight to boss fight to boss fight. There's just so many bosses, and the levels are so.
They're like 93
bosses.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I think.
That sounds. I mean, it's also like a mix of like mini bosses and like actual like large bosses and whatnot.
But what I heard is that the non-boss enemies that are like in between are kind of like nothing.
They're just
so. They can be. So one thing I'll say, like right out of the gate that I did, and I think I read this somewhere, just someone like making recommendations, and I've kind of was like, oh, okay, I might as well just do that. Like very early on in the first level, this first chapter of this game, you come across an optional mini boss that you could run right by, and it's like it'll fucking just smash you into the ground, and and a lot of people were like, if you take the time, and you just like, it's gonna be frustrating if you take the time and you stick it out until you beat that boss, you'll be set for a while. Like you'll feel like, and I did that, and it took me probably about 2.5-3 hours to finally topple this one boss. But everything after that, like ever since that, I think I'm finally hitting kind of like a little bit of a wall, like where I'm fighting a boss where it's like giving me like a really decent challenge. But like most bosses, most major encounters I've come across since that boss, I've beaten in my first, second, or third try. Usually second, probably.
Can I ask what kind of difficulty it is? Like, is it that the boss goes on so long and you just have to kind of like be perfect for so long, or is it just so relentless for a short amount of time?
You mean that hard boss that I was talking about?
No, I just mean like what makes the bosses difficult in this game? Like
it's very aggressive
the flow of combat.
The bosses are very aggressive, and so what I will say,
they kill you quick.
Yeah. So first of all, to kind of like paint a picture of what this game is, if you're not familiar, it's a character action game based around the mythology of Journey to the West, right? And I'm not super familiar with that mythology, but I know that lots of games have tapped into it, whatever. So
you don't know about Dragon Ball?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not super familiar with like the actual like original works, right?
I gotcha.
But it's been done countless times in video games, So what this is essentially is a character action game. I think it maybe has more like Devil May Cry DNA in it than, because I think my assumption, a lot of people's assumption right out of the gate was this was like a Souls-like, and I've found so far that like the Souls DNA is like super minimal. Like for
Well,
instance,
it's like the bosses. You think of Souls bosses, you think of
yes, I mean challenge is definitely part of it. I think in that sense, maybe there's a little. That's probably where you get a little Sekiro, a little bit of Souls, right? But like the Souls is like you have an Estus flask essentially that you can upgrade. You can change. You can also like change what the effects are of that Estus flask, which are nice. And when you save and refresh your health, all the enemies respawn, right? But when you die, you don't lose your souls, so you're not like having to like make it back to your souls to get all that stuff back. So you just retain all your experience as you die over and over again, and you can level up whenever you want.
Oh, so it's an easy
how much of a
mode Souls
progression
game.
system is there?
I mean, progression is pretty deep because there are lots of skill trees, lots of different kinds of abilities. So you're fighting enemies, you're collecting spirits that you can then use to like you can assign. You can have one equipped at once, right? And that gives you the ability to summon a creature that you fought before and use one of their special attacks. And then you have the ability, if you're watching the footage, you can transform into this like wolf creature that has like this flaming blade, and then he has his own set of skills and whatnot. In fact, when you switch to that, when you transform like that, you actually get a whole new life bar and a whole new set of attacks. And when that runs out, you just revert back to your original form. So you have like all those different layers, and all of those different things have skill trees. So every time I'm constantly kind of like paralyzed by choice. Like when I level up and I get a skill point, I'm like, fuck.
Can you, since stuff respawns at
Yeah, you can
bonfires
definitely
or whatever
grind
the
out,
fuck,
and
you can
the
grind
grinding
out skills and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing that right now because I finally found a boss that's kind of whooping my ass. So I'm like, well, I should probably go grind out some points and like upgrade my defense or upgrade my shock resistance or
like,
whatever it may be.
Pretty linear though? Like, where do you go when you want to?
So I'm on the second chapter of this game, and they're both kind of different approach. The footage you're watching here is from the first chapter of the game, which is very much like this like mountain forest area, and it's pretty linear. In fact, I was kind of shocked. I was like, it feels open, like because the game is so fucking beautiful and like detailed that like the environment feels large, but when you try to like if you try and like, oh, I'm gonna jump over this rock and like see what's over behind it, it'll stop you. So
Invisible walls.
Yeah, invisible walls kind of all over the place. So I was kind of under the impression that it's, okay, this is gonna be a pretty linear action game. And then I got to the second chapter, and it's a totally different ball game. It's I don't think anybody here played Stellar Blade, maybe.
I have.
Know. But like, okay, so
I know what you're talking about. There's like open environments.
Yeah, there's open environments there that have, but they're open in the sense that there's some big open space, and then it'll like funnel you off in different directions that have some linear pathways that then loop back around and connect to each other, and you find shortcuts and stuff. But it's never like open in the way that like Elden Ring is open or anything like that.
Is there just one map?
No. It is
Okay.
it is level based, and when you get to a quote unquote bonfire, you can fast travel between the different save points, so you can like backtrack and do stuff like and kind of go, because there's also like side quests. You'll find characters in the environment that are like, there's this like warthog dude that I found right now who's like drunk, and you have to bring him something to sober him up, and then as soon as you sober him up, he's like, oh, now I'm hungry, and then he's like, I want you to go find this, and you have to go find something to feed him or whatever. And I'm sure it's building up to like, I do all these things for him, and he's gonna give me something. So I'm like constantly like kind of like going all over the place in this huge map trying to figure it out. Here's the problem: there is no map in this game, like none. And it wasn't really a problem in the first chapter. In the second chapter, it took me I've been in the second chapter now for probably about 6 hours, and I'm feeling I'm just now kind of starting to kind of like understand how everything is connected and how to like navigate it. So it's shocking to me that there's no map, and I don't know what the other chapters are like, if they're going to get more complicated or if it's going to kind of like go back and forth between like kind of simple and linear and open. I don't know, but it feels, it's kind of like a glaring omission, kind of like how you feel playing Starfield, and you're like, what do you mean? This doesn't have a vehicle, or this doesn't have, it just seems kind of like a glaring omission. But man,
Or a map, also with Starfield.
or yeah, well, yeah. I forgot. Starfield didn't really have much of a map to begin with, and now they've upgraded it. So, but yeah. So Blackheart in chat is saying each chapter is bigger than the previous chapter. I'm only in the second. I think there's 5,
great.
maybe. Yeah, there's like maybe 6 chapters. So I'm like 13 hours, 14 hours into this game. I'm getting close to the end of chapter 2. So there's theoretically 3 or 4 more chapters to go, and apparently they get more complicated and larger and more open, I guess, as you go, which makes sense. So I'm feeling like the map issue is going to become more and more of a problem as the game goes on. But combat is so fun in this game. I am fucking love it because like it's got a really slick, perfect, because there's no blocking, so it's all based on dodges. So you have to get really good at the time, and that's kind of where I think the most of the difficulty comes into play with bosses, because bosses are super aggressive, and you really got to get good at dodging.
Getting the fuck out of the way.
Getting the fuck out of the way is the secret sauce in this game. But like just the number of abilities and things they give you. Like I'm only, like I said, 2 chapters in, and I have so many options. And I was like, I could if I wanted to, I could make a completely different build of this character if I wanted to. Like just change out the summon, change out my equipment, change out my abilities, and like some of the abilities they give you, and you earn the abilities as you like take down like the major bosses and shit. Some of the abilities so far are really fucking cool. Like I just unlocked an ability that when you use it, it summons like 5 or 6 clones of you that all just start wailing on the enemy. And they all have their own separate life bars and their own separate attacks, and they'll kind of like mirror what you're doing. So if you're like just wailing with light attacks, they'll start kind of doing the same thing. And I've just destroyed like tough enemies by summoning. Is there like
an equipment system?
That's my other minor gripe. There is an equipment
builds. Can you build a character in this story?
There is an equipment system, and you craft it by finding stuff in the environment, right? Here's the problem, and there's been other games that I've seen do this. Like it kind of drives me crazy because a lot of the armor sets are really cool, but they have specific stats, and you can't upgrade those stats. So like at some point, armor that you might find armor that gives you a resistance to like electricity or something, so it's good against certain enemies or bosses. But like the stats might be like something that was really helpful in like the first chapter, but if you're on chapter 4, I don't think it's worthwhile putting on that set of armor just to get the resistance, because your defense is going to go down like 40 points or something.
Well, just don't get hit then.
That's the secret, right? Yeah. So that's kind of annoying, and I wish there was a way to kind of like find an armor set that you like and just start putting points into it or something, or changing kind of the makeup, the stat makeup or whatever of that armor, but you can't do that. But there's
the ability
there's a lot of choice. Wait, say again?
Nothing.
There's also stances.
Stances. I do like stances.
Now, I will say this: the stances seem to have more of an impact on like the heavy attacks that you can do, as opposed to like the light attacks. So like, there's a pole. I forgot what it's called. It's like the pole stance. So like, when you do your heavy attack, your pole will like grow, and he'll like perch on the top of it. And if the longer you can hold that, your focus bar will build up, and it will charge, and your pole will get longer and longer and longer, and with each bar that fills up, it gets stronger. And then when you let go, he like wails on him, and it's really cool. But like, you have to find the right opening to try and build your focus meter.
Oh, I could show you the right opening.
Looks like you could bounce a quarter off that pole.
I picked a great one to demonstrate here. But yeah, I mean, and that the pole stance is by far my favorite one so far. But like,
you like
again,
using that pole. I understand.
I do, and I'm like, again, 2 chapters in, and there's so much choice for how I could equip this character. I'm really excited to see what it's like going forward.
But how are like the gender roles and the diversity?
Oh God,
terrible. No,
are the women ugly on purpose, or are they pretty?
I'm assuming that's in reference to something.
There's some controversy about this game. Yeah, I mean, it's made in China, and
talk about it.
Fuck that. So the studio, when they send out review codes for this, they put, you know how they send you like stipulations, you can stream this, can't stream this, whatever.
Don't show certain things, yeah.
They basically included a bullet point in this list, kind of like right in the middle of the list, that was like, oh, by the way, we also don't want you mentioning feminist propaganda or talking about the COVID-19 while playing Black Myth Wukong. Whatever.
Oh, and
it's just,
don't forget that you can't talk about your fetishes either. You can't do that.
oh, wait, was that one of them?
That was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can somebody send me
I
this
think I know
list?
what they're implying by that when they say don't talk about your fetishes.
because they're all yeah, okay. So right, yeah. So the studio or people at the studio have a rather troublesome. I don't.
They suck.
was
They
bad.
sound like they suck.
They sound like they really
they
fucking suck. And I haven't streamed this, and I was
Also,
really,
this is the champion of the culture war right now. This is like the all-star. It was Stellar Blade earlier this year, but they have a new dog in this race, and or monkey in this race, I suppose. And it's pick up Wukong where the women are still pretty, and it's
Farrakhan in chat says one of the things was not to mention Dragon Ball.
What?
Oh no, we fucked up.
We did.
Well, this is
did.
not a review copy. We're not reviewing it.
Yeah, we're not beholden to. This was only for people who were given review codes, which we weren't, and I'm glad. I mean, I was kind of like, I was considering streaming this the other day, and I was like, if I'll stream this, if I can set feminist propaganda as the game in the Twitch library, but obviously that's not an option.
I gotta say, Nick, when it comes to your top 10 list at the end of the year,
I know I
know you like thinking about it. I know you like thinking about it.
I always
if you put this above Nine Souls, I feel like you're making a statement.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I see what you're saying. That's a good point.
Hold on. Their lists says you can't discuss opinions.
Wait, really?
Well, the direct quote is discuss content related to China's gaming industry policies, opinions, news, etc.
Yeah, they apparently don't want you making any kind of commentary on anything outside of the game itself that has any kind of. It's shitty. It is bullshit.
Yeah.
I see. I'm glad you brought that up, Brad, because I probably would not have thought about that.
You know what? It must be frustrating too for the gamer gators, right? Because they probably want to talk about that shit, but technically they're not supposed to. So, sucks to be them.
Yeah. It's all around. It's pretty fucking shitty. I don't like that. So maybe we should just leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, I guess the last thing is that it sold like a cajillion copies.
Yeah. But also it's one of the it's selling like gangbusters, and that's a lot of that has to do with China because this is obviously a huge deal in China because Journey to the West is a big deal in China, and so
there's been like dozens and dozens of games and stuff based on Journey to the West. This broke like crazy records. It's like the most concurrent players playing a single player game by like orders of magnitude above like number 2. It's literally the second highest concurrent players.
Do you remember what the first
game
one
on
was?
Steam ever? And it's a single player game, which is actually crazy. I think number 1 is still what is number 1?
It's like Fortnite or something. I don't know.
Or like Counter Strike.
PUBG. Oh, yeah, that
PUBG is actually the peak
remember.
all time.
That makes sense.
Yeah. PUBG's at 3.2 million. Black Myth is at 2.4.
Do y'all think anybody
crazy for not just a single player game, but Chinese developed games, Korean developed games also, right? In recent years, they're just like, it's crazy, maybe it started with like Genshin Impact or whatever, but like it's
it's crazy. And this is just kind of more of a personal anecdote, I guess, but like for a long time I've kind of lumped, because I've been looking forward to this game for a while and following it and whatnot, but for the longest time I was kind of lumping it into the same category as, like, for me, like Atomic Heart, where I was like, that's not a real game, that's just gonna be like
this
something
is
super. It's gonna be super shallow, and it's just gonna look really pretty, and it's gonna be kind of like a 4-hour interactive movie or whatever that just looks really nice. and then it comes out and you're like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, this game, there is a lot of game here. It is super deep. It looks super nice. It's fun to explore. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I'm incredibly surprised. So,
do you think? Obviously we shouldn't be beholden to their review request, but I'm curious if anybody from the studio would ever see this and understand the fact that 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre and Taiwan is not a part of the People's Republic of China, and
there we go.
All right, we're banned in China now.
There you go. We're good.
Damn. Hot diggity dog. Just like
You
that.
got like
Thanks,
9
Nolan.
souls above Wukong, Nick.
Okay, but here's the deal. Like
No,
you're right.
I'm working for
You're-
the party.
You're fucking right,
I've had
Brad.
my suspicions.
I kind of do. I mean, the good news is that 9 Souls is an excellent fucking video game that I do also highly recommend everybody play. Fuck, but you make good points. Anyways, that's Black Myth Wukong. I'm loving it. I'm gonna keep going with it. We'll see.
I would try it if it wasn't everything I hated about Souls games. So
I mean, here's what I will say about.
I don't want to be stuck on a bunch of hard bosses, and that's
Well,
literally this game. Hard bosses is the game.
Maybe I'm maybe not qualified to really fully give this assessment yet, but like I'm having a much easier time with this than I was expecting. And I probably need to knock on some fucking wood. No, I'm serious. I'm serious, dude. Like, it's the actual like pacing of the difficulty so far has been really nice. Like I said, until the boss that I'm stuck on right now, I have beat almost every boss in 2 or 3 tries easily, and I attribute that to obviously hitting my head against a wall early on and getting really familiar with the flow of combat. But like once you do that, you're kind of set for life for a while, anyways. I'm really hoping I'm not gonna eat my words.
Maybe I'll wait till like the late game, because I feel like we had this conversation with 9 Souls as well. When y'all were like earlier on,
But
you're like, it's manageable, but then like towards the end of the game, you're like, what the fuck?
But you're not constantly dealing with the push and pull of like a traditional Souls game where it's like, I'm making all this progress, I have like 100,000 souls, and oops, I fell off a cliff and I lost it, and I'm never gonna get those back.
Sure,
like, you're not dealing with
part
that,
of it,
which is
sure.
super nice. Anyways, yeah, so that's Black Myth Wukong. How are we doing on time? Do we want to take a break before we come back and talk about Tactical Breach Wizards? Or
We're coming up on 10. We can take a break.
TBW.
Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Tactical Breach Wizards, and I think, Crispy, you're going to tell us a little bit about Abiotic Factor, right? Maybe?
Yeah,
possibly?
maybe.
Cool.
I think
And then
it's
it's more
Just
abiotic.
play it
about
next
me?
week.
I think it's abiotic factor.
Or
Yeah, it is.
Didn't I say abiotic? Or did I say biotic?
You're
I don't
saying
know.
You
You're
said
saying-
biotic.
abiotic.
Biatch. Okay, sorry. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back. We'll talk about it. We'll wrap up the 4-player minute. So if you're watching us live or listening at home, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Brad, Crispy, y'all could barely contain yourself talking about Tactical Breach Wizards. I can't get the words out. It's a little bit of a tongue twister. During the break, and we said, save it for the show. Well, we're back, and y'all are ready to talk about Tactical Breach Wizards.
I am. I've been playing a ton of this. This is it's the new Tom Francis game, the third game in the
Tom Francis, is that
trilogy.
this is the guy who made Gunpoint, right?
Yes, the guy made Gunpoint and Heat Signature, which were games about knocking dudes out windows. He continues to make games about knocking people out of windows. This is like
Tradition.
at a
this
glance
point.
looks kind of XCOM-y. The tactics I'd say are a little more like Into the Breach, or the lesser known but equally awesome Invisible Ink, where you're kind of like in tight spaces and you see everything the enemy is going to do before they do it, like what they're going to do in their next turn, and it's more sort of about like handling that situation that's in front of you, like making the choices because it's the kind of tactics games where basically if you get hit, your character is going to die. So you need to handle like this situation for this turn completely based on the information you have and the tools that you have access to, which are a lot. Because you are wizards, breach wizards. You're military kind of
Spec Ops wizards.
Spec Ops wizards who are all about breaching rooms. Let me tell you, there was an XCOM game that came out that was about breaching rooms that came out after this game was announced, and I bet I wasn't
Chimera Squad. You mean?
You know, what's that? Yeah,
Chimera
Squad. Tactical Breach Wizard's been in development for a long time, and he announced the game like before that XCOM game came out, and that must have been like the worst day of his fucking life. That must have been horrible. I wasn't like kind of following him back then, but I would love to hear him talk about that because it was literally it was almost the same idea, almost. But this is very different. Like I said,
once in a while,
XCOM and Into the Breach are very different things. I feel like in terms of like tactical games, like this is almost like puzzle-like in a way because it's about handling that combat situation you're in, and also Fights in Tight Spaces. I don't know if any of y'all played that. That's sort of like a similar kind of thing of like small form like tactical battles like this, and it's cool. It's funny. That's the thing. It's it's called Tactical Breach Wizards, which is a very silly, cheesy thing, right? And like the game leans into it so hard, and it's like sincere about it. It's very, like Crispy said during the break, it is very quippy.
I was noticing the I guess the roles, or what's the word I'm looking for? The classes you were picking between. I don't know if they were classes or if they're just the names of outfits, but there was one that said like funeral chic, which I thought
it's everything is very tongue in cheek, very silly, but it's also like like the characters are well developed and it's like well written. It's not just a punchline or just a joke. I feel like when you watch that trailer that's like voiced by like fucking John St. John or whatever, right? It sounds cheesier. Like that makes it seem so much like so much dumber than it is. Like it's like this is like a well developed like thought concept here. Like all the way down to like the tactics and the abilities and the way these characters like are different from each other, and the way it leads to like all these like interesting tools in battle, because you really can like the game, and you get a lot more as you go. You get more characters and your characters get more abilities. You have a lot of like interesting choices, and but they're all tied to like spells and stuff, right? Like and it's all really silly. Like there there's the Navy Seer, who's like the Navy. He's like a military background dude. And then that's Zan, and then there's Jin, who's this witch. She's a what is her actual class
She's a
called?
private detective.
She's like a private investigator witch, but her name is
it's
silly, and
her class is freelance witch.
freelance witch.
Yeah. She has a wand that's like a nightstick that she can shoot. So she like holds that with like a flashlight. Like it's like it's sick. Honestly though, like wasn't this maybe you know the answer to this, Brad.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing like the character designs from this game like years and years ago. Was this a thing that like started as a game, or was this a thing that started as like an art project and then they were like, this is cool, and it turned into a game?
I don't actually
remember,
know the development
like,
history. I
on
do remember
Reddit.
when he first announced this game, but I don't remember.
Because my recollection of this was that it literally started with him just like drawing tactical wizards and being like, oh, is this a thing? And then
like doodling it in his notepad.
Yeah, and then like people on Reddit were like, that's sick, and he like made it into a game. Like,
but that's the thing, right? Tactical Breach Wizards sounds like something that could only come from like a joke and a doodle, right? But that's the thing. It's so like sincere and well developed, and they turn the joke into like really interesting
Yeah,
like
compelling.
moves, compelling moves and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's funny too. Like so the character Jin, she's this witch, private investigator witch, and her abilities moveset kind of focuses on not doing damage, but kind of moving, enemies around, right? But you kind of synergize that with like, the Navy Seer gets an ability, he can see 1 second into the future. That's like his power is to see 1 second into the future,
1
which
second.
is kind of
But it's
useless
the
unless you're
4C
breaching
button.
rooms.
This like 4C button is his power. So like you can
Yeah.
set things up. If there are enemies who are going to move, you hit that 4C button, it does all their moves, and then you can rewind if you want to.
Yeah.
Like you can always rewind to the
Oh.
beginning of the turn. Like
And it's such a little mechanical thing, but like
it's huge.
it just lets you go like, well, I'm going to see 1 second into the future, set up all these moves, see what happens, and if it works out, okay, yeah, I guess I'll just that was good, and you just go from there. You don't have to like rewind and then do it again or whatever. It's like a weird little like interface thing, but again, it seems so like
quality of
thought
life
out and
thing.
refined. And
It's one of those things that almost seems like it would break the game and just make it not fun, have no stakes, because it's like, oh, I can just rewind every turn, like every move, and like be super sure about what I'm doing. But like, like Brad was saying, it's very like Into the Breach, where it's like very puzzly, like.
Mhm.
Being able to rewind and like reset and try different things just to get more like efficiency out of each move you make is like the whole game,
it's satisfying too, because they have these confidence goals, which are like you see in a lot of tactics games or whatever, which are like sort of like bonus objectives, right? And sometimes they're really like difficult to complete the mission while also getting those bonus objectives. But every time you complete one, you get 1 point, confidence point, and confidence point you spend on unlocking character costumes, because I guess they need confidence to wear some of the sillier outfits or whatever. But it's like super. I get into these things where, how do I describe it? I get really obsessed with like creating the perfect turns because I want to like nail these confidence goals, because you can go back to do them, but and you can even like, because there is a progression system, which is a little strange for a game that is so like puzzly, but I mean, Into the Breach has progression, but how should I say this? Everything is, I feel like in Into the Breach is very balanced around what you have when you go into a mission, right? In this game, you can unlock stuff. You have choices in how and what skills you want to upgrade. And the game doesn't really like balance around that. You just now have like new tools to play with. But and they tell you with these confidence goals that not only are these confidence goals can be really difficult, but you just might not be able to do these right now, because you might not have invested in like a certain set of skills that would make this possible, because some of the confidence goals are like win this fight in a single turn or whatever, or in by turn 2. You might not have the skills to be able to complete that. But the thing is, they don't tell you that you don't have the skills for it. You just kind of have to figure it out. And at first I was like, that's a little like awkward, because I don't want to be like beating my head against the wall trying to figure it out when I just can't pull it off. But I'm stubborn, right? And there are times where I think, oh, man, I really can't do it. But sometimes I'll just be like Into the Breach or whatever. I'll be looking at it just long enough and something will pop into my head and I'll have an idea, because you have all these tools. And when I can figure it out, when I've been feeling like it's impossible, that's a cool feeling. And I don't think that works unless they give you a ton of like moving parts, and they do so don't think that like, sometimes I feel like when people think puzzle like when it comes to tactics games, it makes it seem like there's one way to do it. You don't get that feeling at all from this game. You have so many like options and tools in like moving parts, that it never feels like there's a correct way to do it. It feels like so like,
Does it
even
feel
though it's
like one
puzzle
of
like,
those?
the battles can still feel like a little scrappy, a little like seat of your pants.
Does it feel like one of those games where you feel like a developer might watch somebody play it and be like, "Oh shit, I didn't think about that."
1000%. Like if it feels like that kind of thing. Like it was in, but I also feel like maybe the developer also just doesn't want to say, because they've been working on this game for like 7 years, and I feel like
everything.
so they, not just that they've seen everything, but like I think the more I've played this game, the more I've realized I bet that they've been wanting me to do this. Or at least I figure I know I can do this, and I bet the game wants me to do that because you can kind of use confidence goals, and then they have like side missions. They have these things called dreams, which are all more like explicitly puzzle like stages, even that seem like really like crazy or impossible. And sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll just come back to these when I upgrade, but sometimes I just like to dive in and really like sort of like unravel the puzzle and just see if I can figure it out. And maybe I'm not going to get the confidence goals. I am playing on hard. It can be pretty difficult. But it is nice to kind of like figure out how to get out of a situation that seemed impossible. And like, so like, for example, I told you like there's the witch who's like kind of moves characters around, and then there's the Navy Seer who can see 1 second in the future. He kind of has like an Overwatch ability, right, where he can like aim his thing forward, and if an enemy walks across it, he does a lot of damage, like basically kills that
Addictive
enemy
shot. Yeah.
So of course it's like, okay, well, the witch can use her abilities to push the enemy into that range, and he'll take a shot, and that's like the most basic like synergy interaction. But then you start to think, wait a minute, I don't have to move enemies around. I can move the dude who's in Overwatch around with those same movement abilities because I'm not necessarily damaging him. And then there's like the next layer where it's like, wait a minute, who cares if I damage him? I could do all this crazy shit when I start banking my like chain lightning like ability off my own people and stuff. Like, the more you play it, the more you realize that you had way more options than that you didn't maybe think that you had
start
before.
to
And
see
it's
the
cool to
matrix
discover
code.
that. You start to see the matrix code a little bit, and it really kind of opens things up, and it kind of makes it exciting. So like, I feel like that looseness is actually like the thing I was worried about in terms of that looseness is actually one of the things I like about it most, because they give you a lot of power, and then they throw a lot at you, and it's cool. It's cool.
Can I just
And
say real quick how much I love like the look, like the animation of like when you breach a door or you
It's
make a
cool.
move,
Yeah.
and it's like the slowed it, like the time kind of like constricts and slows down when things are like when you shoot something and it's like bursting through a wall, like the time kind of slows down. You can see all the debris flying, or when you kick somebody out of a door, like all of
It
that
looks good
stuff
and it
is
feels
just
good. And come on, Tom Francis or whatever, or in his small team, they know how to make something fly out of a window in a satisfying way. They've been doing it now for 3
Yep.
games. But like, let me give you another example of kind of how like the story and the silliness kind of turns into a mechanic, because I think some tactics games have like a hard time, like, well, we don't want to give you all the tools, you know, early on. We want to kind of introduce them as they go, but we don't want to feel too much like a tutorial. And we also don't want to have like, we want to have, sometimes you want to have a good reason for why they haven't been using it. But like one of the like the witch has a broom, so a flying broom, so she can like jump out of a window and appear anywhere else in the stage by another window. That's just like a move she can do a couple of times a mission because she has a broom. And like, it was so
flying
funny
broom.
because like I'm in a story sequence where I'm just like talking, or I'm about to like breach a room, and they're always having conversations about what's in the room, because again, the Navy Seer can see 1 second into the future, so she's asking, so like, what's inside, and they're having conversations about that, and it gets a little quippy, but it's like there's a moment where she just like, oh fuck, I had my broom this whole time, I just completely forgot. It's such like a silly little thing, but it's like, that's actually kind of funny because it was literally on her back. And that's when they introduced the mechanic that lets you use the broom. It's like, okay, the game is silly, but it's like, oh man,
Clever.
it's taken that joke, it's taken that doodle and going all the way, and man, it's good. I don't know, it's good. You start to care about the characters. Bits start coming back.
The returning bits.
So like, there's the traffic warlock, right? I mean, when you first met that traffic warlock, Jen,
That's a
Crispy?
character on your team, or
No, it's a
No, he's
it's
in
a,
a
it's a
recurring villain.
he's on the enemy
Oh.
team basically, and he's like one of the first bosses. And you're outside the door talking about what's in the room, and you're talking about him, and you realize that Jen just really hates the traffic warlock Steve, and she says that, and like
His name is
Steve apparently
Steve
has really
Clark.
good hearing. Is like, oh, I can hear you, actually.
And she's
Jen.
like,
And she just
fuck.
screams like,
She's like,
"Fuck you, Steve!"
Steve. And then they
And
breach.
it's like,
Like,
and then they breach, and you realize she just hates him. But like throughout the game, you realize, she really hates Steve, and everyone kind of hates Steve, and they like start like making jokes and like meta jokes about how much Steve sucks. And then like one of the things the game does is like the mission objectives on like a mission complete screen. It'll be like mission complete, or this objective complete, and it was like the actual stuff you were doing. But then they're usually in with like a joke, like one of them was like, oh, sneak into this place and learn what Liv's plan is, and it would be like complete, and it'd be like understand Liv's plan, and it would be like, like there's this silly writing in even that kind of stuff, and it's like, it's good, it's fucking good, it's charming. Maybe it's not like fucking what is your bar for comedy? I don't know.
I don't have a bar for comedy.
Man, what's a really smart comedy?
What the? Oh God! What? Someone help me out. The name of the game where you're like, it's like fourth wall breaking, and you're like a game developer, aren't you? I think, or you're in like an office.
the Stanley Parable?
The Stanley
The
Parable.
Stanley Parable. Maybe. Well, actually, it is very British. Maybe Stanley Parable and this game are kind of in
Thank
sync with
goodness
each
you're
other.
here.
But what
Untitled Goose
I'm saying
Game.
is maybe it is a little like,
I mean,
silly and like quippy, but it's also like it's very charming, and it wears on you because all aspects of the game
grows
are leaning into it so hard. I like it a lot.
I mean, it is a very endearing and compelling game so far.
Yes.
I'm enjoying it.
And I encourage you to keep going because it just keeps getting better and better.
Brad, are you playing this at all on a Steam Deck? Maybe I'm just curious.
I'm playing it on a Steam Deck. It is definitely like, I think, best with like mouse and keyboard. I tried messing with like the default kind of Steam Deck controls, but it seems silly because it does have like a touchpad, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of play like a Steam Deck game with like a mouse interface like pretty easily. So I kind of like just set up my own custom Steam Deck thing, so where I was, because I'm still kind of mostly playing it as like a mouse and WASD interface or whatever. But it took some tweaking. There's probably like some good community profiles out there for you to download already at this point. Like the game's doing pretty well. I'm sure that stuff exists. But it's not hard. It's not hard to like turn it on and go, this seems a little weird. I bet I can.
I kind of need something
like,
for my Steam Deck right now because most of the stuff I'm actively playing at the moment is it's either on PlayStation or it's not. Like, I'm not going to play Black Myth Wukong on my Steam Deck. Are you kidding? That'd be crazy.
So I'm super fond of this game, Nick, but I also know that like you bounced off of like XCOM and Into the Breach, and I'm wondering, and comedy sometimes.
But I did put Invisible Ink in my top 10 that year.
Okay, shut the fuck up about your top 10. I'm just saying,
you don't like Invisible Ink.
You're not like ride or die on fucking XCOM and Into the Breach and shit, or comedy, or silly comedy. So I recommend it to like Nolan and Chris Davis like wholeheartedly.
But I do like kicking people out of windows. That's always cool.
Yeah, that's factually true for all events in life. Though.
I mean, I feel like that alone is almost enough to sell the game.
The third character you get is a necromedic.
What?
We watched the trailer. She can heal you, but she has to kill you first. Like that's the whole thing with her. So she'll literally, and she has a gun, but she never uses it for anything but healing people.
Killing you.
She literally has to kill you first. So she'll kill. So it's so funny too, because I thought that she would just bring me back from the dead, but you can just use I just needed some help, and she literally killed me, but it wasn't a stage where that was a problem, and then brought me back, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have more health than I did, even though I just died, so I guess that's fine, though. That is her thing. She's a necromedic. Doesn't like being called a necromancer because you're not a zombie afterwards. You're still living. I mean,
is there like a cost? Like, is there a downside to letting her kill you and then bring
like
you back?
mechanically?
Yeah.
Or
like,
I mean,
does it count against you somehow? Like that you
no,
actually
no. Sometimes confidence goals are like in the stage with like full health, but like that's not a problem.
Okay.
Just because you were previously dead, you're at full
Just
health
curious.
again. So yeah. Again, just lots
Curious.
and lots of tools. She throws this like skull, which is like you aim it unlike anything else in the game, right? You actually can like line up like fucking bowling pins. You can like hit a bunch of enemies at once. And
Is that what
like
you're
really
lining up
satisfying.
on the screen right now?
Yeah, I'm finding. So when I went to capture footage, I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, I want to capture footage, but at the same time, like I want to do this right. So the people watching the footage are just gonna have to chill while I figure this out, because you rewind a lot to try to create the perfect turn sometimes. Sometimes you just kind of go with it.
You know what?
But,
This kind of this I know it's not the same thing, but like, and I know you're right. I did kind of bounce off of Into the Breach, and
I don't
but I did play Desperados 3, and this does have kind of the same a vibe where you're spending a
but
little
that
time
game
like
you were
setting
a
up.
cowboy and you were like more traditionally cool.
Like Mimi games or Mimi. I know it's not the same thing. I know it's not the same thing.
Nolan and Chris Davis, 1000%. I think y'all will like this.
Fuck you, Nick, is what you're
Awesome.
saying.
We're
Good
just
to know.
everyone's got different interests and tastes, and Crispy's the one I would recommend it to the most, probably.
Well, he's already
because-
playing it, so
I'm playing
I think
it right now.
he's not even here.
I've been playing it while we've been talking about it.
Motherfucker.
It's funny because I think when I first brought it up, Crispy was like, "Man, that'd be such like a good D&D character," and I noticed like so many people in the comments for like the videos are like saying the same fucking thing. It really does feel like a silly D&D campaign gone right, I guess.
That's a good way to pitch it.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. So
It's
big
fun.
recommend. I like it a lot.
Now I know we don't have footage, but Crispy, you've been dabbling in Abiotic Factor, right? Is there which we've watched a few trailers for this during trailer talk, and every time it comes up, I feel like we're all kind of like enamored by it, and maybe I'm feeling like maybe eventually we'll do like a game night together with this, because I feel like it looks like it'd be fun
Yeah, I think
co-op wise.
I think it'd be a good game night game.
What can you tell us about it, though? I know you've only said you've done about 4 hours of it.
Well, I played a little more today. Where to start? I suppose so. Like, the premise that we've been operating on, that the game is operating on, is that it's like if you took the original Half-Life, but it was like an open world survival crafting game.
Yes, please.
Instead of just a first-person shooter. So
Please and thank you.
Yeah, so it's like Half-Life meets Rust a little bit, meets
Rust?
like
And you can clearly see that Half-Life DNA, like when you
Rust
look at like shots of it.
or Rust
There's
or
definitely Rust
or
elements
like
to it.
or any kind of crafting game, right? You're not like really building buildings, I don't think. I don't know. I'm not far enough in to be doing that kind of shit, but like
What is it like specifically, like PvP server kind of survival game?
I don't think it is. I don't think it.
It's PvE.
I don't know. I don't think
with
it's
the group, right?
I don't think they get. I don't think like Rust is very like PvP oriented, right?
Yeah.
But like something like Valheim is less so,
Yeah.
right? It's more like Valheim, where it's like you're all kind of stuck in this facility together, and you can work together and try to like.
That's cool.
Escape.
I
Like,
was
the
thinking at first
story.
glance, I thought this was like a Lethal Company like. I'm
No,
glad to hear
dude. I
it's
mean,
a
it is
survival
straight
game.
up. I mean, you are in Black Mesa, like straight up. Like it is such a like.
It
such
almost
a
doesn't seem
riff.
legal.
Yeah, it's such a riff on. I mean, it's
It's
it is
legally
its own
distinct,
thing.
as we like to say
Yeah,
here.
I don't like to say that. I don't like that mentality. But it is different. It is like a parody almost of Black Mesa. And it is kind of like a funny, darkly humorous game. But yeah, it's like if Black Mesa was like an open world that you were stuck in, and instead of just like, going from point A to point B and like doing what everybody's telling you to do like you do in Half-Life, you kind of have to just like figure it out and like hack your way through it. And the fucked up thing is that like any other crafting game, you have to manage food and water, you have to manage sleep, you have to manage like your health, because there's a lot of like goo that'll get on you that makes it easier for you to get sick. You can get you can catch diseases. You can
Don't touch the goo.
get radiation poisoning. Like there are entire areas that are just like flooded in radiation. You have to manage your bowels. Like you have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like you have to build a toilet at
There
some
we
point,
go.
or use like and like so like you're
Is there
like
like a
you're
meter
living.
that shows your bowels being filled?
There are meters for everything, yes, and then like your character talks too, so like they'll be like, "Oh, I need to find a toilet." Like they're like a wormy little pencil neck dweeb who just got hired at Black Mesa, right? So you're a nerd. But like
the
really
dudes
like
that you love to kill as Gordon Freeman. At least I do.
yes,
When I play.
you're one of those guys. You're one of those guys. You don't even have like a cool HEV suit or anything. And then there's like the blue shift guys everywhere, and then there's also like aliens everywhere, and the like the bad guys from Blue Shift, the army or whoever it is that's like killing everybody, right?
The Marines.
The Marines.
Marines,
Yeah. And it's like imagine being inside the Black Mesa facility and like you were trapped there and you had to survive like the stuff you would have to do to survive. So like for instance, I'm surviving mostly on like finding vending machines and then like getting as much food out of them as I can. I'm like going into the bathrooms and like drinking water out of the
Out
sinks.
of the toilet? Oh,
No,
the
I have to poo in the toilet because but the sinks, like all the sinks and everything fill up. There's like soda machines and like vending machines everywhere that like provide most of your food, but there's also like kitchens, so like you can find ingredients and like cook stuff. You can cook the like radioactive alien meat when you kill the aliens,
Does
and
the food
and
look
like
tasty?
like
You get to see it?
oh, not really. Like there's like the first food recipe I learned is for sausages made out of like the main enemy dog like aliens that warp around, and like it looks fucked up, man. Like you have to manage radiation so much that like iodine tablets are like a regular consumable. You just have to like keep a supply of iodine on you at all times. I'm building a bed and then like shoving it in like a cubicle and like build like putting furniture around it to like build it up to like protect myself during the night. Anything you build needs to be powered, which means it needs to be plugged in to the wall, or you have to make batteries so that you're self-sustainable, because again, you're inside, like you're in an underground facility, but it's a survival crafting game that does have a day-night cycle. It's just that every night at 9 p.m. they shut off all the lights in the facility. They shut off all the power in the facility every night. I don't know why. Like they like, and in the game too, they're like, "This is fucking stupid. Why do we do this?" Like, but they shut off all the power in the facility, and they have security droids that come out at night and like patrol the facility, but they don't have like a friend or foe discriminator. They just kill anything. Like they'll kill anybody that they run and that they encounter. So it's like every night, like at 7:30 p.m. or at 8:30 p.m. or 8 p.m. 8:30 because lights out are at 9 p.m. There's like an announcement that's like, if you have not evacuated the facility, you should make that your top priority right now. Like get to the tram and get to the residential block because lights out is in 30 minutes. Yeah, and it's fucked up. Like it's so fucked up. And like I'm at a point now where I've been like dodging security bots, and like I've been making armor, and I've been making weapons, and I made like a shield out of a lunch tray, and I'm like beating up these like little alien crabs and shit, and And then like I get to a point where they're like, okay, well we need to get into silo 3 to get some power cells. We're gonna have to hack through the door. And they're like, well, the only way to get the security code credentials for the door is to destroy one of the robots. So then I have to fight one of these like fucking murder robots by myself to get its CPU, and then I like get the recipe to build the hacking device, and I need 3 of them. I need fucking 3 of them. Like it's insane.
That checks out. It's a survival game.
Yeah, and it's very like, yeah, like there's just like you'll like find like just people like hiding in closets, and they're like, "Fuck you, I'm not going out there." Like, or like people just be like in security offices, and they'll be like, "I don't know, you're on your own, dude." Like because it starts out pretty much exactly like Half-Life does. Like you're going into the facility, it's your first day of work, and something's going on in the lower levels, and now like the power's out. There's aliens everywhere, and like you're finding people who are like, I got shot by soldiers. There's soldiers like killing everybody, like, and you get into like the silos where they have like they're doing the exact same shit they're doing in Half-Life, where they're opening portals to other worlds, except in Half-Life they're opening one portal to Zen, right? And they're just like going and exploring Zen. In this one they're opening to a whole bunch of them. Like there's a whole bunch of different portals that you can find that go to different worlds, and each of these worlds
Are we
have
talking like Half-Life 1 Zen or like Black Mesa Zen, which is so much better?
Oh well, I've already been to one, and it wasn't even as like big or involved as Half-Life 1 Zen, but it was that kind of vibe. It wasn't as cool as Black Mesa Zen, you know.
I mean, not many things can be.
What is?
Yeah, I mean, what would be, right? Right, like Gabe Newell would be even more disappointed in
Black Mesa Zen's the only Zen I even know about. I've ever experienced.
That's fine. The original Zen kind of sucked.
It did.
Yeah. Gabe Newell said he
It
would
did.
regret that his entire life, that he didn't get to do more of the Zen stuff.
Did he say that? Is that a
Yeah,
is
he
that a
said
real?
Chris Davis is right. You don't need to play the original
He
Half-Life.
said that. He said that.
I
He
mean,
said
he
his
did,
biggest
yeah.
regret is that he couldn't get more of the Zen stuff into the original Half-Life. But yeah, it's fucking cool.
Are you playing this? Are you playing this with friends or solo?
No,
or
I'm playing solo.
It sounds
I am
cool, and I wish we
Could have
had
invited me, Crispy.
I only just started like yesterday.
Well, I have
Sorry.
a feeling.
Invited
didn't know.
me yesterday.
Okay,
Why isn't it on Game Pass?
so
or
when
something?
when it's 4 a.m. here and it's 5 a.m. on the East Coast, should I like call you or like send you a message or something?
Yeah, there's like a telegram will work.
Crispy's not exactly playing at peak hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I heard this game. Sorry, this is like on topic, off topic, but on topic. Core Keeper just got added to Game Pass. I hear this is like a really fun co-op thing. Maybe it would be a game night thing. I don't know. Got good reviews.
Well, I'm definitely interested. I mean,
yeah, I want to play Abiotic Factor too, but that one actually.
I mean,
sucks.
Abiotic Factor
I'm
is
just saying,
really
if
sick.
we're
I think
looking
you
for,
guys would enjoy it. It's making me really want to play Half-Life again. Like to be honest,
you should do that.
Like between this and like also I started playing Deadlock, right? And I was going back and watching videos about like Deadlock's development, and where like a month or two ago everyone was saying like, oh, this project that they haven't announced yet, like it's a third person action MOBA set in the Half-Life universe. Like everyone thought that Deadlock was like a Half-Life game for a while until they showed it off and realized it wasn't. That game is really cool. And
yeah, go ahead.
no, I no. What were you gonna say? It was originally known as what?
It was the project was originally called Citadel.
Citadel. Yeah,
That's what Deadlock. That's what became Deadlock.
Citadel, and it was another name
Neon
too.
Prime.
Neon Prime. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
those are Deadlock.
This is actually in the news right now. Rumor, but apparently, I mean, the rumor right now is that Valve is actively developing 2 new Half-Life games.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be, and I'm obviously not going to comment on that because, you know, that's.
Well,
it's Valve, it's Half-Life, and it's a rumor.
Is that like after this? Because
I think that's not.
This has been like 3 months or something, and people thought that Deadlock was a Half-Life game.
Yeah. This rumor I think is specifically referring to projects that have nothing to do with Deadlock. and it probably has.
Have any of you played that?
I have not.
Which-
No.
I have
assume
booted it
David
up just
said.
to send y'all invites to it.
So
I played like 5 or 6 matches of it.
all right, so I was debating on talking about it, but yes, I have played some Deadlock, mainly because Chris Davis was kind enough to get me a key. I was not feeling it.
Dude,
Really?
it seems like a super cool game. Like it seems like I don't know. It's like fucking blowing up. It seems like it's going to be the next big thing. It seems like it's really well made. I love the vibe. I love the characters. I can't play it. Like I can't. I don't know what's going. I'm just like I don't know. I don't know how to MOBA.
So a couple of my
It's
thoughts on
so
it is yes.
complicated.
Similarly, I think I was definitely extremely overwhelmed when I first booted it up. Their tutorial's kind of weird. It's like an active like slideshow almost. Like you're not really playing. I don't know. It's weird. Then they're like, hey, pick a character. We think here's some good ones you might like for an early player. And then you kind of do a brief like offline tutorial, and they're like, all right, you're ready, and they throw you in. And then they're like, hey, you remember that character you liked in the tutorial? Someone else chose them, so you can't play as them. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll play this character. I don't really know how their moves work. And also their skill tree is like 40 things, and there's all these like actives. It is busy as fuck. And you get thrown in, and they're like, hey, you're in this lane now, go for it. And I'm like, oh, what? Oh, cool. My first game, and I'm the only person in this lane. Great. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting.
What's the lane thing?
It's what? Well, like, okay, so in MOBAs, your maps have lanes that, like, the whole point of the MOBA is that each
You
side.
can't explain MOBAs to me.
I didn't know that. I thought this was specific to Deadlock. I didn't think it was a MOBA.
No, it's a
thing. Okay.
MOBA thing.
It's
MOBA.
MOBA.
Like, this game, I mean, this game is the big, like, revolution or innovation of it is that it is a full MOBA, but it's also like a full third person like action shooter, like hero shooter. Like
Monday
it's
Night
not
Combat.
it's not just like it is. Yeah, Monday Night Combat's the one like everyone talks about.
Yeah.
It's like that, but like way crazier, and like Smite was like a MOBA that was kind of third person action, but not really. It was just a MOBA that they put the camera behind you. This is like there's a huge amount of like verticality to the map. Like a lot of your moves are about like you jumping into the air or popping enemies into the air. You're in like this fictional alternate reality version of New York City, like running around on top of buildings if you want. Like it's like yeah, like just wrapping my head around like the skill expression of like the shooter aspect of the game was already like a lot. And then I don't know how to play MOBAs. Like
Yeah.
but it's good enough that like I think I kind of like I kind of want to dig into it. Like it's kind of fucking wild, but
I think we need to get
I don't
Ed
know
in
what
here
I'm
to
playing
really
with.
talk about it.
yeah.
This is an Ed
I
jam.
thought you were gonna play it, Mr. Valve. What
It's
the
super sweaty though.
Did you say
yeah, so-
sweaty?
Sweaty.
Sweaty.
It's
Yeah.
very
Like
sweaty.
everyone in the game is sweats.
Bunch of
They're
sweat.
going way too hard. But anyway, so like I said, my first time playing, I didn't realize, I tend to, when I play online games, because I'm an old man and a nerd, I turn on my mic and I talk to people. But like
Wow.
no one's fucking talking to me, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, hey guys, it's my first game, whatever. And then just like one person's like, cool, and then like no one says anything, and then I'm trying to like I said, by myself in this lane, first time playing this game, very overwhelmed by the abilities, the how you interact with things. I did the tutorial, so I understand that you have your 1, 2, 3, 4 abilities, and you can earn skill points and put those points into the abilities to make them better. But I don't even like realize what's going on. I didn't even realize I earned skill points. You can go to the shop and buy more, and you go to the shop and there's like 4 pages in the shop.
Oh, dude,
And each page has like
why?
6 sections, when each section has like 15 different things in it. Like the
Mm.
shop, it's just like it's just overwhelming. Not saying it's not, like
And it's
Crispy
like
says
by
he
the end of the
thinks he
match-
might enjoy it.
Well, I mean, by the end of the match, you're like you'll have bought like 16 different things. You'll have upgraded 4 abilities like 5 times. Like, it's fucked. Like, it's fucked how complicated it is. It is super daunting, and it's like like I do really want to get into it, and I do really want to try it just because it like is fun. It looks cool. Like the characters are so cool.
I do like the aesthetics of the game. I do like the characters. I do like the world that you're in. And a lot that I
You're
do
talking
like
about Concord,
about
right?
Yeah, Concord. Yeah.
No. But yeah, I was extremely overwhelmed. You know, the match had been going on for like, I don't know how
Yeah, they're
long,
like 30, 40 minutes.
like
yeah.
30 minutes at least. And I felt like I was
Damn.
making no progress except for
I
dying
mean,
a
it's
lot.
like Dota, right? I mean, it's
Oh
not
yeah,
that long.
and it's like every time you die, your respawn gets higher. So if you're
Yep.
dying a bunch, you're eventually
Yep.
like on to like a minute plus respawn
Mhm.
timer. Like it's rough.
So at that point, I think I did 2 matches. Then I was like, I'm gonna step away from this until like someone else plays it with me even.
I think
Yeah,
it would
this
be cool to
sounds like
play
it's
as a
probably
group.
not something for me.
no.
But then again,
Oh,
I'm
not
never
even
gonna-
a
Nick,
little
if you went from your like I hate live service games attitude directly into this and like got into it, I would think you were a fucking psychopath. Like I just
I would
wouldn't
think you're an alien. with, like, a
understand you.
changeling or
Yeah, like
Like who
Like,
replaced
fair
Nick
enough.
Anderson? What's going on? Yeah.
Well, I mean,
This
Chris
is the
Davis
most
like offered me the
not
code
Nick.
too, and I was like, I don't know much about this game, but I see it feels kind of strange that you're offering me this code.
The
'cause
only
I don't
reason-
think.
The only way this could be more not Nick is if it was Japanese. Like, it's,
Fuck
Yeah,
off.
that's true. That's true. You could see it.
Y'all, once I get these 10 points for Brad's little not racist
Mm.
card
we
or
can't
whatever,
call you racist anymore.
you can't make the
You could be
Japanese.
racist towards other people.
All right, we'll finish your list first, and then we'll not make
Yeah.
jokes anymore.
That's true. I need to make
About
sure I
this
focus
particular
on.
thing and not others.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
that's a good
but
point.
anyway,
That's a good
kind of
point.
going back to like my experience, I think one of the frustrations I had was I did the tutorial and I tried 2 different characters with like guns, and then I go into the game and it's like, hey, choose your 4 people that you want, and so I
You have
choose
to
the
pick
first 2 that or 3, however many it was, and so I choose them. I get one of the ones I had never played before, and the problem was it was like a bow user, and going from like using like
Oh, yeah.
automatic rifles and guns to a bow, it like threw me off. I was like, dude, I don't know how to play as this character. And don't get me wrong, I've played plenty of games where I've used like a bow type weapon, like fucking the sniper and TF. One of the updates, he had a bow. That's fine, whatever, I can do it. It's just my first time playing a game like this. It's just like very much throws you off.
Right, right.
But yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, I've not written it off, but it was a daunting and
I
overwhelming.
mean, I think
experience.
regardless of what any of us think about this game is gonna like
Oh,
blow
I'm
up.
sure it will.
be the next big thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Which is what they're
Just
going
like
for.
Artifact was, right? Am I right?
yeah.
Can you get a game right,
This
Valve? What
is-
the fuck?
This is gonna be the next Concord, you guys. This is gonna be the next. What's fuck? I was gonna
Battleborn?
no
Redfall?
battle. I mean, it is the next Battleborn.
it
I was
is,
gonna
yeah.
say no. Going back farther, what's the game that Joseph reviewed back in the day by just like
Oh my God!
Brink?
Blue cover.
Brink? Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's a deep cut.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's
bought that
That
game.
hasn't come up in a while.
I bought that game day 1. I thought it was gonna be so cool.
Fucking Joseph's review of Brink is still.
I mean,
I hate it.
I mean, that was just a conspiracy just to sell copies of a game that was destined to fail.
That wasn't like a real game. Yeah.
Yeah, like Deadlocked, like it's only in like a super early play test and balancing phase right now. Like
Yeah.
it's probably going to be at least another year, maybe even 2 years before it actually enters like any sort of proper early access or anything close to release build. Like everything
lot
that
of
they
these
have right
things-
now is super placeholder.
A lot of this might be tightened up by the time
Is it?
it gets
I
to
mean,
that
the
point.
game looks good.
Yeah,
What's placeholder?
like
Like the character models, like the map. That's all. Like they have one map in the game. So
No,
Yeah.
don't get rid of that. I like that stuff.
Nick,
Like-
Nick thinks. I mean,
like the shit all
this
looks.
is
pretty,
Chris
like-
Davis's Prince of Persia. Thinks this
Shut
beautiful game looks
up.
like shit.
what?
I
This
mean,
motherfucker
it's wild.
will not let this go. Anyways,
Anyways,
before we wrap up,
Bring footage of y'all's games, damn it! I
before we
want to see
wrap
these
up,
games. I have no idea what Deadlock looks like.
Brad,
Zero.
would you like to walk us through any Fantasy Critic updates.
Oh,
I don't mean to
I
put you on the
can.
spot.
What's the
I feel like
latest?
we've been
Jeez.
slacking a little bit on the.
Silksong doesn't exist. That's the big one for me, at least.
I don't know
I
when
mean, a lot of
Nolan.
games have been coming out.
I
actually.
don't know when Nolan picked this up. Maybe I just missed it. But Nolan picked up. Fuck, what was it? It just came out.
Visions of Mana. It came out.
Visions
Yeah,
of
what's-
Mana.
Reviews dropped today. It's at a
several
78.
weeks ago. Yeah. Wish it was a little
Which
better.
is, not amazing for Fantasy Critic, but like it's like it's still a game I'm interested in. So I might rent that actually.
Is my
But it's
audio
also
sound okay
kind
to
of where a
y'all?
lot of games
fine.
end up in Fantasy Critic.
Okay, people in chat are saying, or someone in chat said I was kind of lagging, but that's just me. Never mind. Disregard. Continue.
A lot of games have been coming out. It's been a pretty busy summer for game releases on our side, I suppose. I don't know.
Probably
when
just
the
need to
last
do
time
another Fantasy Critic episode, like in September or something, to kind of like.
maybe we could.
know.
But like as far as any like big things that have happened, like Neva got a
Give
date
you up?
today.
October 18th.
Ed picked up that. Oh, Marvel. Oh, so there was a couple of games that got bid on. Marvel Rivals and
Ed stole
And,
that from me.
okay, how that works. Monument Valley 3. Chris Davis, I was surprised, picked up Monument Valley 3. I thought that was going to be Nick when I saw that pop up.
I don't even
weird.
know what Monument Valley 3 is.
Oh,
It's the sequel to
okay,
Monument Valley
that's
2 and 1.
embarrassing.
I don't even know what Monument Valley is.
It's a very
bro.
so it's like a very prestige like mobile indie game. It was like one of the first mobile indie games I remember it as like being like prestige-y.
And you thought of me?
Well, I mean, we watched it came up when we were watching I think we were in Discord, but we were watching the opening night live and it was there. It was there.
Nick, you sit down and you watch that trailer, you're going to be like, oh shit, why'd I miss out on this?
The first one is very well
All right.
received. It's kind of like Echo Chrome-esque a little bit. Like it's a puzzle game that fucks with like perspective, but it's a very like well reviewed. Like the first one's like a 90 or whatever. And it's like, but it's been like 10 plus years probably since that first game. And the second game came out with less fanfare. I think the dangerous part of this one, Chris Davis, is that it comes out like about mid-December and it might not get the reviews that time of the year.
That's true.
Even as like a semi-prestige mobile franchise, I guess at this point over all these years, like it's we'll see. Like World of Goo 2 is still sitting at like 12 reviews. It's just like it's hard to get.
I'm looking at
reviews these days.
Yeah, this is
Tactical Breach Wizards is still sitting at like 10 reviews. It's like, man, I don't know if it's the season or whatever, or bigger games are starting to come out, but like getting reviews for some of these games is tough.
Well, I think it's just one of those things. Like I said the other week, several weeks ago, there's just so much shit, and when there's more games, there's less time to review games. And so every game is going to get less reviews. Yes, the big AAA blockbusters are still going to get like over 100 reviews. But then smaller games, there's just less time for people to play them. So they're going to be reviewed less, which means their averages will probably be more like, it's either going to be people who like really like the game, so they give it a good review, people who really don't like it and almost played it because they wanted to shit on it, or people who are just like, I needed something to play, I played it, it's okay.
But also, like,
So,
Tactical
Star
Breach
Wars
Wizards-
Outlaws was another big one that got review embargo today because that was also counterpicked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Reviewed
sitting at a
softer than I was
77.
expecting.
Yeah, same
Honestly. 77 again, fine score outside of Fantasy Critic for Fantasy Critic.
Pretty in line
but
with
good, it's a good win
pretty in
for
line with
Crispy
Massive.
as the counter picker.
Pretty in line with like what Massive has been averaging, I would say. I'm still really like the things like what I'm reading about Star Wars Outlaws. The things that I'm really excited about seem to be what it's doing well, like what's being praised for, and the things that it's being dinged are typically for things that I don't really care much about. So I'm not sure. We'll see what happens, but I'm super excited to play that. I'll probably be talking about that next week.
I will say, Crispy having counterpicked this and Metroid Prime, which he got a 0 for, -7 points between two counterpicks is actually quite good. So that one kind of worked out, honestly.
Nice.
Angie's got Mario and Luigi and Dragon Age coming. Crispy ain't out of this shit. I'll say that much.
Yep.
Odyssey could have killed. I mean, Star Wars could have killed him, but it didn't. Yeah, damn.
We'll see.
Well, okay. Well, that's
Ed.
what.
I don't know. Y'all think Marvel Rivals is gonna like review well? I was surprised to see 3 people bid on Marvel Rivals. Honestly,
I don't think.
I've been hearing good
but
things.
then again, options are kind of
Coming from
Slide.
the like Overwatch space, people seem into it.
happy.
Yeah.
People seem happy.
Okay.
That's it for Fantasy Critic. A lot of games coming out. Check the site. A lot of scores. I went from like nothing to doing really well just because my games started coming out, which is nice. But obviously, I have a couple big ones on there that might not ever exist. So we'll see. I still got my free drop, delay drops. We'll see.
Yep, we just gotta hope the Hollow Knight gets delayed.
I need Silksong. Yeah, I hope they say something about it. But I honestly think if we hear about it at all, I think it'll be coming out this year. I think it's possible. It's always a meme until it's announced. You know, I was kind of arguing in Discord because people are so smart assy about it. Like, oh my god, this motherfucker thought Silksong is a thing that was gonna come out. I know it's like a big meme, but like, no one's actually worried about this game.
No,
You know, people
it's gonna
played
come out.
this
It's
game.
gonna change lives.
You know?
So
They've shown extensive trailers. Hollow Knight is a incredible game. Team Cherry is now a revered studio. I know it's a big joke that has taken a long time, but like when I picked this in January, it was not a bad pick. But people think that because with hindsight, sitting in September now, oh my god, you have Silksong, you're so fucked. But like they're acting like they're the fucking smart ones or some shit. But
it's
they just
especially
have 2020
Any of us
hindsight.
here-
It's so
Any
stupid.
of us here would have picked Hollow Knight. It's just you've
Of
got it
course,
before
of
we
course.
could.
At the
It's
beginning of the year,
also-
no one thought it would be.
it's
Still
also
not out.
like you gotta remember that we're talking about like the beginning or at the end. What is it? At the end of 2022, they said everything. Xbox during their big showcase,
Yeah,
or
there's
actually this
been
was
a lot
mid
of stuff.
2022. Everything coming out you see on stage today will be playable out and playable within the next year. So that would have put it out mid 2023, and here we are almost the end of 2024, and it's still nowhere to be found. So
The
like,
thing is,
come on,
you're right, but I think that was maybe debunked a little bit by Team Cherry themselves. But
sure.
but I will say, I still don't think like even with hindsight, like I still think it was like absolutely the thing I would have picked anyways, because you know the potential's there, right? It's you gotta the people who do well in Fantasy Critic are the people who find the 90 pluses, and it's not easy to find them. Damn it.
And some
Okay.
games just you never find out about until well after they've launched.
Yep.
That fucking Tsukihime remake is one of the highest rated games of the year.
Yeah, but it was Japanese release first, so we couldn't bid on.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like at
Okay.
96 or 97 right now.
It dropped, but it's
Let's-
also Japanese release for previous year. So
let's wrap it up with the 4-player minute.
I have a
Can
4-player minute.
we do it in record
Yeah.
time? Brad, go.
Well,
I only
mine's
said
not
it because
long.
like,
It's about
last
a
week you went
singular
on for like
topic.
10 minutes.
What?
Your final thought last week was like 10 minutes long.
Yeah, but it was a dope one.
It was pretty
Fuck
sick, I
yeah.
guess. Sure.
I don't remember what it was. This week I just wanted to talk about my current problem with gaming. I am weirdly so I downloaded the Castlevania collection after the Nintendo Direct,
Mhm,
and I
mhm.
installed it, and I was turning on my Switch to go play it because I wanted to try out the Haunted Castle remake, and I was like, oh. Well, I have my Unicorn Overlord game in progress that's been out since February. Still playing it. Over 100 hours into this thing and no end in sight. I am weirdly obsessed with this game, and it is a problem.
Unicorn Overlord?
Unicorn Overlord is a game that you could probably beat in, I don't know, Chris Davis length of time, probably. But I don't know how long he spent on it. But
I don't remember either.
I am over 100 hours in a single playthrough, and honestly, no end in sight for me. I am obsessed with tinkering in this game. I constantly will go and pull up my army menu and just start like fucking crafting, rearranging equipment, creating new teams, trying them out, and I can't fucking stop. And it's becoming a problem because my army is getting larger and larger and larger. And the other day, I'm like, oh, what if I just like removed everything and started to make all new teams and see how those work out? I'll just go in there and I'll just start tinkering and tinkering and tinkering because the itemization is good, this class system is so good, the combat system is so good, and I can't stop. And it's a problem. And I never even booted up that Castlevania game because it was just like a thing about, oh, let me just save. And I was like, wait a minute. What if I just play a little bit? And I couldn't stop. It's been a problem. I've been playing this consistently since February, and it's gross. Like I went from obsessed with Balatro to going, let's see what this Unicorn Overlord game's all about. I mean, I knew I was going to like it, and I can't stop. It's crazy. It's
Can't stop, won't
It's a
stop.
problem. All I want to say is, I played a lot of games this year. Maybe this one's my favorite, honestly. And I can't stop playing it. I want to stop playing it because I want to play new games on my Switch. But I can't stop. That's all. Just want you to know. Just because I don't talk about it every week here doesn't mean I'm not all constantly thinking about it and talking about it. I mean, I'm playing it.
Is this stress that you're experiencing? Are you caught in the Coliseum grind? Is that hurting you?
No. It's literally, I'm just like, I'm doing like mock battles and stuff. I'm perfecting teams and just tinkering, just coming up with new ideas. The game is so deep for that stuff. It's so insanely deep. And I did not expect that from a Vanillaware game. It's crazy. The game is great for someone with a bad brain like mine.
It is a top 10er.
There we go. All right, Chris Davis, why don't you go next?
I guess my main hype this week is that amongst many other news stories that happened this week, over the course of right as Gamescom was happening, Konami did a press event to go play the Virtuous mission of Metal Gear Solid Delta.
That's
so
right.
They got
I saw that.
Yeah, they could play through the whole 90 minutes of that just to experience it. And press preview impressions came out yesterday, and they have been extremely positive. And they are saying,
what's no date for the Metal Gear Solid Delta?
No.
Oh, well, extremely positive. Maybe I heard something different.
Well, they're talking about how like
not negative, more just that like it's the same game but super pretty.
Well, it's more than that. I mean, like the controls have basically been remade in the fashion of Metal Gear Solid 5.
That's
the menuing that was the biggest issue with Metal Gear Solid 3 is now a thing of the past because your camo index, you can switch out camos on the fly by just pressing on the D-pad. Same with the codec. They didn't demonstrate the medic stuff, but that's because it doesn't happen canonically until you get to the Snake Eater mission portion of the game.
Food.
They talk about they talk about the food, how you capture animals. They box themselves up and into things you can eat later and cook.
Yeah, but I mean, like can you just grab a snake and hit R2 to chomp down? That'd be cool.
It's from
heard Metal Gear Solid 5. That's not what I heard. I heard more like Metal Gear Solid 4 in terms of like controls.
Well, I mean, the impressions I'm getting from
I heard that it's cool, but not quite like the dream remake that we all wanted in our heads.
Well, I think the big thing that sticks out to a lot of people is what I've been reading was the fact that it's still like sectioned off the same way as the original game. Like you're still loading from one area to the next, and I think a lot lot of people were kind of hoping it would be more seamless, which.
Because
it would be nice,
but that's a lot of work. That's so much work.
Yeah,
that's more just art. That's much more than just art and controls. Which
you suddenly have to figure out how all those areas actually fit together, which is not. I would imagine is probably quite the endeavor. So.
Well, specifically, the other thing about Metal Gear Solid 5 controls was that now the triangle button is a dedicated like dive button, just like in MGS5. So.
Nice.
Is the encounter design like completely different though? Because Wazoo mentioned something funny in chat. He says, I feel like if I played exactly like Metal Gear Solid 5, it'd break the game like Twin Snakes. Not only is that like an understatement, but like Subsistence broke the game by just letting you have the camera behind Snake in that version of Metal Gear Solid 3. Like if the encounter design is like the same in terms of like the amount of enemies and like what they do, and you're controlling like a Metal Gear Solid 5 Snake, it's not even going to be close. It's going to be insane. I don't know how they balance around that at all.
I would imagine there's gonna be some balancing change. I mean, we are talking about like a full blown remake as opposed to a
But that's the thing. Like I hear a lot of it is not. It is not that as different as you think, and maybe we read different fucking articles, man. I don't know. Yeah. You link me what you read.
At the end of the day, we don't have a release date for this yet, right? This is still.
No, I don't think. I think this is probably going to get delayed or whatever till next year. Honestly,
I mean,
this feels too big to come out this year.
I feel like if we're going to get a release date soon, it's going to happen at TGS. And if it's this year, it's maybe December at the earliest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with that. But
I'm fine with.
I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see there's actually stuff out there about it now, and that we kind of have answers to a lot of our questions.
Yeah. The first thing I watched was Dan Reichert, who is a notoriously huge Metal Gear fan, did his own write up and impressions and everything, and he was extremely positive about it. And he is fucking critical of that franchise too. So
what? Good. You just said, but he wait. Dan Reichert is like a diehard like fanboy. What do you mean he's critical of it?
Oh yeah, no, he shit all over like Twin Snakes, for example. Like he's got a history.
In other words, he's a huge fan, but he's not afraid to be harsh against it because of that.
Yeah, man.
All right.
I wish they remade Metal Gear Solid 1 like in a super good modern version. Damn it! Yeah. Why couldn't they do that one first?
Because when are they going to remake 2?
I mean, if you're going to remake 1,
remake 2 as well.
You have to completely reimagine 1, because that map is just so fucking small.
I feel like we're getting into
so
the
was
weeds.
Metal Gear Solid 3 in today's standards. Honestly, I mean,
we're getting dangerously close to the remake, remaster, reimagining, all that. Like, I hate that conversation. It's so.
It only bothers you.
And it's not about that, Nick. I think it's more. But to that being said, they basically already remade Metal Gear Solid 1 in 4, where you go back to Shadow Moses and you can basically explore almost the entirety of the map.
But you don't get the story moments.
Well, no, correct. Yes, you don't get the story, but I'm saying like, hey, the assets are technically already there. But to their point, like I would see. I don't see it being very feasible for them to release a full remake of Metal Gear Solid 1. I just don't feel like, to Brad's point, there'd be enough content. Yes, when it came out in 97, when was the first one come out?
I think it was 98.
Or no, 98, whatever. Whenever the first one came out, it was groundbreaking for its time. That game is not going to be groundbreaking today, no matter how pretty it looks. And so I feel like they would be hard pressed to release that standalone, just looking and playing a little nicer.
I mean, it's definitely like a harder project to pull off, but it's still fucking Metal Gear Solid, man.
No, for sure.
That's still my favorite one.
I mean, think of it this way.
No, definitely.
Resident Evil 2 to Resident Evil 2 remake is probably about the same. As far as like the jump in scope, it would have to be something like that, which would be great.
So, all they need to do is the dream sequence in Metal Gear Solid 3 is just Metal Gear Solid 1.
Boom. Done.
There you go. Problem solved.
Would be something.
Problem solved. Hey, Nolan, you want to go next?
Yeah. So to Brad's point earlier about, his relationship with gaming and tinkering with things, I've been doing a lot of IRL tinkering, like I had mentioned earlier in the podcast. Trying to just do small things around my house that I've been putting off for a year. We still don't have blinds in our house. We only have paper blinds.
Oh, okay.
And I just haven't gotten around to actually buying.
I was like, you live in a fishbowl still?
Yeah, no. And just lots of little things. I've not done a whole lot with like my basement. It's kind of super unorganized still, and I know it's one of those things where if I don't do it now, I'm definitely not going to do it later when I'm trying to run around after a kid. But a lot of that's not not all my fault. The fact that I do have a basement, all the houses up here have basements. Just not to digress too much. The one of the incentives when we started building this house, because I think the builders were having a bit of a lull in sales, was, hey, if you buy a house now and you use our lender or something like, I can't remember, there was an incentive where they would finish a section of the basement. Generally, most houses up here, when you build them, the basements are just unfinished. It's concrete with padding on the whatever, and so they finished a section of the basement. Drywall, paint, carpet, whatever. And I was going to use that as my media room. Well, when we moved in, like, the ground had some issues. It's kind of bumpy, whatever. And they're like, hey, we'll take care of it. Don't worry. And I was like, cool. I'm not going to set up my media room in here and then have to take it all back out when y'all come to fix it. Here we are a year later. It's still not fixed.
Ooh.
Somebody was actually out today, though, to add some flashing to try to help level it. And it went from, like, on a scale to 1 of 100, 100 being the most bumpy, floor, horrible. It was probably, we'll say it was a 70. They brought it from a 70 to like a 60. Like, they mildly, just the smallest amount improved on it.
I'm sorry.
Still not where I want it, but it's just like, and it sucks. That's one of those things where, could I live with it? Sure. It's just kind of a little frustrating.
Next time they're out there, get them to put a little step in front of your kitchen sink. You can step up a little.
But yeah, and so, like I said, just lots of little things that I'm still having to do around the house. It's tough to do all this stuff, and then now I do have a ticking clock on it. Yep. Especially now that I also have to do the nursery and stuff. So I've been choosing my games very choicily in the decisions I've been making on what to play.
Right. You read that chapter on nesting, Nolan?
No, I've not.
No.
Which one is that one? And the what's expected when you're expecting?
Getting the nursery ready and stuff, because man, Malia was so mad at me when I was like, well, we got plenty of time. We could just do the nursery later. She's like, no, it's nesting. It's important that I do this now. Yeah.
Well, I've been trying to go with Bernadette's flow. So when she wants certain things, I'll just kind of go with whatever she's feeling. She's just now, I think, starting to get into that kind of nesting phase and mentality, which is good, because I'm kind of at that point where I'm ready to start working on it. So yeah, I think we've been doing okay. But like I said, we'll just go with the flow. And like I said, she's obviously been doing all the work. So I've been doing whatever she needs me to do. And I'm sure it will stay that way for the next, at least several months, and then a couple months into the baby being here. Right. But anyway, that's it.
Cool. All right, Krispy, who just got very bright all of a sudden.
Well, I have a few words and numbers for y'all.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2.
Oh no! Did the review embargo lift? Oh no!
Wait, did the review embargo? No, it didn't lift.
No.
Okay. No. I was like, I'm on Open Critic right now. There's no way.
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm scared. I'm scared about
the launch date. The launch date is the 9th. So it's coming. It's a coming.
That's actually my biggest problem right now.
It launches on a Monday?
Yeah.
It's weird.
That's weird.
Well, that's what this thing says.
That is accurate. The 9th is accurate.
That's weird.
Maybe that's like worldwide, but it's launching on like a Friday, actually.
Maybe. Who knows?
Look it up, but I'm scared.
I think it's time. I think the people are ready. I think that
if this shit scores like an 85, I can't survive that. It's gonna kill my run.
Dude, I think it's gonna be at least an 85. Look at it.
Okay.
Look at it.
Floor, Krispy.
Oh, man.
85. 85.
No, I think 85 is possible. I don't think 85 is the floor on this one.
I think 85 is likely.
I hope you're right. I honestly
likely.
Right. Saber.
I think
the first.
I think the stars are right. The people are ready.
Like a 74.
I'm gonna place my bets. If I had to like
7? 87?
Shot saying 87. I love it. 87.
If I had to put my money on a number that it was going to settle at, I'd say 82.
I hope
Yeah,
it's
you're
lower.
crazy. You're crazy. 82.
But I hope you're right, Crispy.
I think,
hope,
but
yeah,
I'm
like,
with Nick.
yeah,
I'm with Nick. I think it's going to be like 82, 83.
You guys are coping?
82
and
is a
seething
problem
right
for me.
now?
83 at least? Texas?
85 at least.
Yo, that's not the
85,
ceiling.
baby.
Come on, that's like the mid.
This is like gonna be the next Last of Us, man. It could be. You don't know.
Well, okay, you just lost us.
We don't know.
When I counterpicked it, I
know.
counterpicked to me, what would be a 75 to a 79. Now
You
I realize
counterpicked
it's
the
a
past.
And then I was like, oh shit, maybe this is like a 75 to an 85. A big range there, but like people seem really excited. Now I'm worried that the floor is more like an 80, which is bad.
Somebody is hotboxing us with a copium grenade, and I can't tell who's huffing it.
It's Saber. Copium.
It's bad.
What do you mean?
Someone here is coping. Well,
It's
someone here is
internet.
delirious about Space
No,
Marine
I
2,
mean,
and I can't quite tell who it is. I think it's what
there is
Crispy
a
used
lot
to
of
say.
hype here. There's a lot of hype here.
I guess
obviously.
we'll
The reviews
fucking
have
see,
been
huh?
pretty positive, but
I'm liking the
still Saber.
attitude,
It's
Crispy.
still a Warhammer game. Like Warhammer games, Saber games, they don't do crazy numbers. That's why I
when the
counterpicked it.
two come together, they make magic.
Oh, Saber meets Warhammer. That's what the
It's a very
magic sauce
specific
was.
You know what?
It's a
They've
secret
never
combination.
shipped like a 80 plus in their life, I don't think.
There was a time where the biggest movies in the world weren't superhero movies too. You know what I'm saying? You know, you go back
They've
20
not been
years, no one gave a
blazing.
shit
Some have been
about
blazing, but they're paid
Iron
shills, man.
Man.
Some of them
paid
were.
shills. Come on.
Some of them were.
If there are shills, they're unpaid. I mean, there's no such thing as a paid shill anymore. You don't have to pay shills. You don't have to
This
pay
is culture war shit, dude. It's about
just shill.
well, there ain't no women in any of this armor. You know, that's what's going on here.
Oh, there's gonna be like a lady custodes, and then it's gonna be huge controversy, and that's gonna.
Look,
Was it one of
man,
the
Space
most
Marines is
important
all about
characters?
Nazis and men, not women. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous that someday somebody is just
Yeah.
not
It's
going to
it's
get
not
the
gonna
joke.
hit 90. If Space Marine settles at 90 plus, I will officially resign from Fantasy Critic this year.
Oh, pin that.
I don't even
Someone
care
pin
if
that.
Silksong
Clip
comes
it.
out.
Clip
Someone
that
pin
out.
Clip
it.
it.
This is another like homie bet or whatever, like we
Clip
did
it.
with Dragon Age.
Put him in the fucking.
Oh wait, we should. You know
ground.
what we should do? We should do like a trade or something, like we did with Dragon Age. Like if Dragon Age scores below a 75, I have to trade. I have to take it back,
No.
right?
No. Yeah. It's like,
We
so
should come with something like that.
if Space Marine 2 scores
plus
over
for
a 90,
Saber Interactive.
if it scores over a 90, Crispy has to give it to Brad. Has to
That doesn't
trade
make
it.
sense.
I don't know.
Oh, it would. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I'm just.
You
Oh,
gotta
if
pay
it
me
scores
money.
90 plus, he has to give it to me. It cancels out my counter pick.
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot about the fact you can't take something you've counterpicked. Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense.
If Space Marine comes out and settles at a 90 plus, you can have Silksong if it releases.
Damn.
What? No.
You would get 290
We'll
pluses.
talk
and you
about it.
want-
We gotta think about that. We'll talk about it. We'll talk
All right.
There's no fucking way. You are smoking.
Okay. Okay.
So what?
What's your point? Okay. Let me get mine out here so we can finish this podcast off. I just wanted to say, so yeah, Star Wars Outlaws reviews came out this week, and it's settling around a 77, which is a little disappointing. Fantasy Critic wise, a little disappointing for me. Kind of in line with what Massive Entertainment, it's Massive Entertainment, right? That's the name of their studio. Massive. It's kind of in line with like what they've. That's kind of what they've been
I might
averaging,
want to
I
check the
suppose.
Metacritic score of World in Conflict, buddy.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm talking about recently. Okay. I'm thinking about like the Division 2 and then the Avatar game and now this. The Division 2, I think, probably being the one that scored the highest. But anyways, I just wanted to say, it's a bit of a bummer for my fantasy critic, but I'm also still very excited to play it. And I forgot that this weekend is a 3-day weekend. So I'm going to be just going balls to the walls into Star Wars Outlaws. Very excited about that. You know,
When does that come out?
Friday.
Balls to the
I
walls.
mean, unless you have early access, because if you paid,
I could be playing
for
it
whatever,
right now.
you could be playing it right now. I just on principle don't usually
I
do
just have to
that, so
pre-order it?
I'm not really. And not to mention, I have plenty of Black Myth Wukong to play
Extra
still.
for that.
Wait,
Balls
what?
to the walls requires you have to lift the penis, right? To get your balls on the wall.
I mean, you would think so, yes. I mean that if you're
I
if
don't
Or
you're
you
trying,
just kind of like
Well,
mash
not if you
everything against
not if
the
you
wall.
bent over and backed up.
there we
I
go.
don't
Bent
think
over,
the-
backed up, and then like
Yeah.
get a little
I don't think
force.
the original colloquialism is referring to testicles, though.
What was it
Well,
referring to?
Crispy might be right.
I mean, I hope it's not referring to testicles because that doesn't make sense.
Anyways, so yeah, I just wanted to say, very excited to play Star Wars Outlaws, and I'm I like to be pretty positive, have like a positive outlook on things, and just gonna say it, man. Days Gone is is one of my favorite games of all time, and it is a 72 on
I like that
OpenCritic.
you've learned to embrace the 72, right? Because it used to be a
Well,
joke, and now you're like, dude, I love 72s.
I mean, look. Days Gone, one of my favorite games of all time now. 72. Atomic Heart last year, 74, one of my favorite games of the year. 77,
Yeah,
dude, 77 on OpenCritic is still considered strong. I think it's going to be a great time. I'm super excited to play it.
maybe it's the numbers that are wrong, Brad.
I've had a game of the
And
year
look-
be sub 70, so come on, man, I've been there.
And look.
Number
whatever,
one game of the year.
It could be. It still very well could be my game of the year. But it's got some steep competition, dude. Astrobot comes out the week after this. Space Marine 2, I don't know if you heard of it, also comes out the week after this.
Woo!
90
And
plus.
Plucky Squire also comes out the week
Oh,
after
now
this.
that speaking of actual 90s, that
Fuck.
game.
That's not one of them.
If you have not watched this most recent round of preview coverage, holy shit, that game's gonna score well.
Yeah.
Damn,
Nolan's
it looks
over
so
here
good.
smiling ear to ear.
It looks so
Um,
good.
Anyways, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Let's go ahead and wrap this show up. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Next week we'll be back to record another episode. I'll be talking about Star Wars Outlaws. I can tell you that much. Among other things, and of course, in the meantime, you can find us in Discord at discord.gg/4player. You can find all of our episodes on your preferred podcast service or on 4playernetwork.com. And we record these episodes Tuesday nights. Maybe we'll try and get a game night together sometime in September, play some Abiotic Factor or something along those lines together. It could be a lot of fun. But yeah, we record every Tuesday, so we'll see you next week. And in the meantime, y'all be good to each other, play video games, and good night.